Hey everyone, per your requests, I'm starting Soul Land 5, The Rebirth of Tang San today. My channel isn't monetized, so if you're able to, please support me on PayPal to help me stay active. Chapters 41 through 60 of the previous episode, after assessing their progress, Wang Yanfeng initiates practical combat.
Tang San was unaware of Zhang Haoshuan and Appo's rich inner thoughts. He knew that Zhang Haoshuan was aware of him teaching other abilities to the group, and there was no need to hide it. Relying on his bit of divine consciousness and the perceptions of fate changes after integrating the celestial fox transformation, he was confident that Zhang Haoshuan harbored no ill will toward him. He didn't and Appo's need the Redemption Society to do anything for him. All he needed was a safe place and time to improve himself. As he became more familiar with this world, he was gradually finding the direction for his advancement. So far, the most significant help he had received in this world was the integration of Dubai and Appo's celestial fox transformation. The fusion of the celestial fox vision into his discerning eye had allowed his spiritual power to liquefy at a young age, a transformational change. More importantly, this liquefied spiritual power had started to nourish his bit of divine consciousness, which was crucial. By strengthening that bit of divine consciousness, he might soon be able to use some of his abilities from his past life, and eventually regain the stature of a god king. Back in his room, Tang San didn't and Appo's rush to cultivate. He was still pondering the matter of Mei Gongzi attending school. From her appearance, Mei Gongzi seemed a bit older than him, but not by much. Girls tended to mature earlier after all. She seemed to be around 12 or 13 years old. What kind of institution would she attend at this age, especially as a human vassal? Based on his knowledge so far, she would likely be attending some basic school. Sighing internally, Tang San remembered that there were several basic schools in Kali City. However, the city was so vast that it would be impossible to search them all. Most importantly, if Mei Gongzi frequently attended school, the chances of seeing her at the milk tea shop would be slim, which Tang San was reluctant to accept. "Oh, I miss you so much." He couldn't and Appo's just asked Mei Gongzi and Appo's mother which school she attended. What should he do? Right, he couldn't and Appo's afford to be daunted by the difficulty. It was just a matter of basic schools. Starting tomorrow, he would investigate how many there were, and then check each one until he found her. With this thought, Tang San and Appo's determination solidified. He believed he would find Mei Gongzi and her school. First, he would need a detailed map of Kali City that marked the schools and Appo's locations. With a direction in mind, his heart settled. Tang San took out the dragon tendon fruit. It was time to consume it. He needed to strengthen his physique further, as only a robust body could bear more energy. Otherwise, his body would become the greatest hindrance to his continued advancement. Bringing the dragon tendon fruit to his lips, he bit into it, and a fragrant juice flowed into his mouth. The fruit quickly withered, and the aromatic liquid flowed down his throat. As it descended, the temperature suddenly spiked, like a line of fire, instantly plunging into Tang San and Appo's abdomen. The warm liquid imparted an indescribable, peculiar sensation as a heat wave rushed swiftly toward his limbs and bones. A fiery energy instantly engulfed Tang San and Appo's entire body, making him feel like steam enveloped him. His skin turned red, radiating intense heat. What potent medicinal strength! Tang San remained clear-headed amidst all this. He circulated the energy of the mysterious heaven technique, spreading the medicine and Appo's effect throughout his body. Harnessing his mighty spiritual power, he could distinctly feel the efficacy of the dragon tendon fruit permeating his body, subtly transforming every part of him. Truly deserving of its exorbitant price as a heavenly treasure, this substance might not significantly boost energy, but its nourishing effects on the body were remarkable. Feeling the fiery baptism on his body, Tang San gradually entered a state of meditation. With his body at the center, the surrounding air temperature noticeably rose as the dragon tendon fruit subtly and silently tempered his body. The entire night passed in such silent cultivation. As the first rays of sunlight entered the room in the early morning, Tang San awoke from his meditation. A sensation of soreness and itchiness pervaded his entire body. Opening his eyes, Tang San instinctively stretched, flexing his body. Instantly, he heard a series of crackling sounds from his bones, and it seemed as if this simple movement was stretching out the meridians within his body. The feeling of soreness and itchiness gradually gave way to comfort. The vital energy and blood surged within him, bringing a refreshing and clear sensation and a lingering sour and stinky smell. When Tang San looked down, he saw a layer of gray dirt on his skin, the source of the unpleasant odor. Without a doubt, this was the effect of the dragon tendon fruit purging impurities from his body. The mysterious heaven technique had such an effect by itself, but the added nourishment of the dragon tendon fruit enhanced it significantly. After getting out of bed, Tang San didn't oppose. He rushed to wash up. Instead, he performed a few stretching exercises to loosen his body thoroughly, a faint smile appearing at the corners of his mouth. After a satisfying bath, Tang San silently observed the changes in his body. In just one night, he had grown at least 3 to 4 centimeters taller, and even his lean physique seemed to have filled out a bit. His skin and muscles had become more elastic, as if his entire being had grown. The effect of the dragon tendon fruit was indeed impressive. The bloated feeling in his body due to the excessive amount of energy had noticeably lessened. It wasn't oppose. Tea is difficult to bear. Although it was still improbable to push the mysterious heaven technique to the 7th order quickly, his physique had unquestionably advanced. It was time for breakfast, but with 5 students absent, the cafeteria seemed somewhat emptier. As soon as Tang San entered, he saw Dubai and Chang Zicheng eating together. When Tang San caught sight of Chang Zicheng, he immediately noticed her changes. She looked noticeably more mature, as if she had aged a year or two in a short time. Her facial features had become a little more slender, giving her the air of a young lady. Her skin was radiant and glossy, and her figure appeared more slender and toned. This was obviously the effect of the dragon tendon fruit. Tang San sat down next to them. Dubai turned his head to look at him and couldn't oppose. He helped but exclaim, "The effect of the dragon tendon fruit is excellent. Tang San, you and oppose. V changed too, just like Zicheng. No way, I will buy one to eat later. This thing can even make people more attractive." Tang San had grown taller in his eyes, and his appearance and temperament had subtly changed. He was no longer as thin and small, rather he seemed slender and nimble. His skin was more lustrous, and his facial features had lightened up, making him much more pleasing to the eye. Tang San smiled slightly and said, "If you have enough money, eating it will benefit you somewhat. However, spiritual elixirs are more suitable for you. Your celestial fox vision relies more on spiritual power for support." Dubai chuckled softly and said in a lowered voice, "It and oppose. It's useful, you know. Practicing the purple demon eyes has been beneficial. After breaking through to the 4th order, the effect is much more noticeable. As I practice it, I can clearly feel my spiritual power increasing. After practicing this morning, I felt a change in the sea of my consciousness." "What change?" Tang San asked curiously. "Originally, my spiritual power felt kind of like a gas. Since I broke through to the 4th order, it has been growing quite a lot, and practicing the purple demon eyes you taught me actually made it even better. Today, I suddenly felt my spiritual power condensing. It's turning liquid, I think. There's a lot more of it, but it takes up a lot less space, so I can gather a lot more of it. That means I have much more room for improvement." Liquid spiritual power? Tang San was also astonished. His spiritual power had become liquid due to the absorption of the discerning heart's gaze, falcon eye, and celestial fox vision, along with a bit of divine consciousness at the center of his sea of consciousness and his 5th order cultivation at the time. Yet Dubai, having only broken through to the 4th order, was already transforming his spiritual power into a liquid form. Even without the purple demon eyes, merely with the celestial fox vision, he could probably have achieved it, albeit in a longer time. Truly worthy of being a first-tier demon bloodline. Indeed formidable. Congratulations, senior brother Dubai. It seems like your spiritual power is becoming much stronger. Do you have any new sensations with your celestial fox vision? Tang San asked. Dubai nodded. I feel much more now. I can see luck more clearly. For instance, I feel your luck today is quite good. But for some reason, it seems to me like your luck is different from others. For one, I feel a lot closer to you for whatever reason. Also, I can see other people's luck much clearer, but yours seems kind of elusive, as if it's trying to escape my sight. Tang San thought this must be related to his own celestial fox bloodline. It seemed the teachers and Appo's assessment was correct. Entering the fourth order of the celestial fox transformation had brought about a fundamental change in Dubai. Such changes would continue to enhance as Dubai and Appo's spiritual power grew, truly bringing out the capabilities of this top-tier demonic god transformation. Senior Sister Zicheng, your transformation is also great. How do you feel? Tang San asked Cheng Zicheng. I and Appo's am doing quite well. My body has become much tougher. As you said, my golden wings are stronger, and my flying speed has improved, not to mention that I'm faster anyway since I broke through. I can use the golden wing splitting wind slash much easier. And it's more powerful too, Cheng Zicheng said with delight. Dubai exclaimed, indeed money can make things happen. It and Appo's all about having money. With it, even cultivation speeds up. Seeing his companions improve brought only joy to Tang San. Their advancement was akin to his own. Their strength represented the limit of his bloodline power. Classes went on as usual, mainly physical training since other teachers were absent. After consuming the dragon tendon fruit, Tang San felt the physical training became more effortless. He voluntarily increased his workload to better absorb the medicinal effects of the fruit. The morning was for physical training, and there were no classes in the afternoon, a rare break. Tang San had previously arranged to meet with his master, so after lunch, he went straight to Zhang Haoshuan and Appo's residence. You and Appo's eat in the dragon tendon fruit? Zhang Haoshuan scrutinized him and immediately noticed the changes in him. Tang San nodded and said, the effect is quite noticeable, isn't it? I can feel my body becoming tougher. Zhang Haoshuan smiled and nodded. The effect of the dragon tendon fruit is indeed good. Though it and Appo's not considered a top-tier natural treasure, it and Appo's really not bad. Too bad it's rare. Our academy only managed to get a few. Either way, it doesn't matter to you because it can only be consumed once. The effect diminishes greatly the second time. You do need to strengthen your body, but Don and Appo's rush it. After all, you and Appo's still young. As long as you regularly consume demonic beast meat and you grow normally, your body and Appo's endurance should be comparable to an adult and Appo's by the time you and Appo's 14 or 15. Let and Appo's go. I and Appo's already made arrangements with the blacksmith shop. Are you sure you want to forge it yourself? Asked Zhang Haoshuan. Tang San nodded and replied, I want to try it, master. All right. Give it a try then. Zhang Haoshuan had great faith in Tang San. Although the boy hadn't and Appo's been there long, he had significantly impacted Zhang Haoshuan and Appo's understanding of human cultivation. Zhang Haoshuan increasingly realized how marvelous the mysterious heaven technique was. He had tried it in secret but couldn't and Appo's get it to work. If it weren't and Appo's for the fear of exposing it, he would have liked to find a human child without the demonic god transformation to try it. Since Tang San and Appo's arrival at the academy, not only had his cultivation improved rapidly, but he had also significantly influenced the other students. Particularly Dubai and Appo's celestial fox transformation and Guli and Appo's chrono croc transformation, which had been significant challenges for the academy, had all broken through after Tang San took them out for training. It was fitting to call him the lucky star of the Redemption Society. Upon entering the blacksmith shop, they were greeted by waves of heat. Warm air circulated in the shop, where several muscular blacksmiths worked. Seeing Zhang Haoshuan arrive with Tang San, the blacksmiths set aside their work to greet him. Being able to live in the academy town, they were naturally vassals. With a glance from his discerning eye of heaven, Tang San could tell that the blacksmiths and Appo's demonic god transformations were of the strength type. Their cultivation was not very high, around the third order, but it was sufficient for blacksmithing. All right, you guys take a break. Leave this place to us for a while, Zhang Haoshuan said. The blacksmiths nodded and left, showing great respect for him as the mayor. What do you plan to do? Zhang Haoshuan turned and asked Tang San. I and Appo's LL need your help with the smelting, master, and then I and Appo's LL give forging a try, Tang San replied. All right. What do you need to smelt? Zhang Haoshuan asked curiously. Immediately, Tang San took out the black crow stones he had purchased. Black crow stone? What do you need to smelt it for? Apart from being hard, it has no special properties. It's very hard, I guess, but because it's too hard to work with, it's practically useless. These stones are only good for fence repairs. The ones in the shop have probably been gathering dust for a long time, Zhang Haoshuan said, looking at Tang San with confusion. Tang San said, Master, I really want to try it. With such hard ore, I am wondering if I can produce something even harder if smelted. I want to try forging a weapon. Zhang Haoshuan shook his head somewhat helplessly. This is wishful thinking. If you want a weapon, finding a better metal for forging is better. What use could black crow stone possibly have? Tang San insisted, please master, help me try this out. He had already put the black crow stone into the smelting furnace as he spoke. He had bought many pieces of stone, almost enough to fill the entire furnace. Let and Appos. Give it a try then, Zhang Haoshuan said somewhat resignedly. Tang San picked up a forging hammer from the side. Zhang Haoshuan approached the smelting furnace, raised his right hand toward it, and activated the fierce tiger transformation. His body visibly enlarged and a fierce flame shot from his palm onto the black crow stone, starting the high-temperature smelting process. Tang San stood beside him watching intently, silently waiting for the black crow stone to show a change. Black crow stone seemed to have a very high melting point. After being heated for a while by Zhang Haoshuan, they only turned slightly red with no other changes. Just as Zhang Haoshuan was about to say something, Tang San preemptively said, Master, please increase the temperature. Zhang Haoshuan felt helpless and intensified the infusion of his bloodline power, turning the flames erupting from his palm golden red. The fierce golden red flames were scorching, gradually causing the furnace to turn red. Meanwhile, the black crow stone and Appos hue shifted increasingly toward red. The furnace can and Appos be heated any further, or it will blow up, Zhang Haoshuan warned. That and Appos enough. Please continue with the heating, black crow stone, Tang San said as he picked up the tongs nearby and extracted the piece of black crow stone that had undergone the most significant color change due to Zhang Haoshuan and Appos' flames. This piece was red-hot, radiating intense heat when removed from the furnace. Tang San placed it on an iron anvil, steadying it with the tongs in his left hand while his right hand swung the forging hammer. Having cultivated the mysterious heaven technique to the sixth order, Tang San wielded the hammer effortlessly. With a resounding clang, the first strike fiercely landed on the black crow stone. Zhang Haoshuan saw that the blow flattened the usually hard black crow stone. He immediately looked surprised. Under the high temperature of his fire, the hard and brittle black crow stone had actually become malleable. Tang San and Appos' movements did not cease. The forging hammer in his hand repeatedly struck down as he twisted his upper body. While holding the tongs with his left hand, he still managed to leverage the force of his upper body, making each strike more potent than the last. While this wasn't an Appos' the complete disorder wind-splitting hammer technique, it was nonetheless imposing. With each heavy blow, the black crow stone kept changing shape. Noticeably, black powder scattered with each change in shape. Watching Tang San forge, Zhang Haoshuan was amazed. When Tang San swung the forging hammer, his entire demeanor seemed to change, as if the hammer was a natural extension of his body, giving off a sense of unity between man and hammer. Tang San felt the same way. In his previous life, his second martial soul had been a hammer. Known as the foremost in strength, his clear sky hammer had been his final trump card, his most potent weapon whenever he faced formidable enemies. Alas, he hadn't Appos' brought any of that with him in this life. Yet, the sensation of wielding a hammer remained. As the forging hammer fell blow by blow, the piece of black crow stone rapidly shrank, but it also underwent some peculiar changes. As it shrank in size, the originally pitch-black stone gradually began to emit a metallic sheen. The ore's original black-golden hue also became increasingly rich with Tang San and Appos' forging. With each heavy strike, the color became more vibrant, slowly acquiring a metallic essence. This is Zhang Haoshuan and Appos' pupils constricted. Metal? Could black crow stone be forged into metal like other metal ores? There had been attempts before, but none had been successful. Was the temperature not high enough, or was the power used during the forging not enough? As he pondered, the black crow stone under Tang San and Appos' hammer suddenly burst into a brilliant light, shooting up nearly 10 feet high. The light shone for several seconds before silently fading away. The black crow stone transformed into a piece of black golden metal, its size reduced to less than a fifth of the original. Tang San crouched down, closely examining the metal. The inherent hardness of the black crow stone remained, and it had become even stronger. Moreover, its toughness had increased. Black gold, in his previous life, had been a scarce metal. Its primary characteristic was its inertness, and it showed little reaction to any substances or interactions. It was also incredibly tough. In other words, it was an excellent choice for both weapons and armor. When Tang San first saw the black crow stone, he couldn't oppose. Be confident that it was black gold ore. Only upon his second observation, with his enhanced discerning eye of heaven, did he make a more accurate judgment, concluding that the black crow stone was in fact black gold ore. Now that the forging was complete, the presence of black gold ore was confirmed, and its purity was also quite high. Although black gold was not particularly precious, it was the most suitable for making forging hammers due to its great toughness. Additionally, it was excellent for creating hidden weapons, as it was able to easily penetrate elemental defenses. This was why Tang San had bought up basically all the black crow stone. They could be used to make hidden weapons. He was currently lacking effective means of attack, but that would change soon enough. "What is this?" Zhang Haoshuan asked, looking at Tang San in surprise. Tang San shrugged, saying, "I don't oppose. No either. I just wanted to forge some metal, and then try to make some of the hidden weapons recorded in the mysterious heaven treasure record. Teacher, this metal seems quite tough." Zhang Haoshuan lifted his hand, drawing the successfully forged black gold into his palm. He silently felt it, squeezing hard with his hand. Just as Tang San said, the quality of this metal seemed very high, extremely tough. At the very least, it was one of the toughest metals he had ever seen. Is this what they call transforming trash into treasure? Teacher, let and oppose. Continue. Let and oppose. Try to refine all the black crow stone this afternoon, Tang San said. Zhang Haoshuan couldn't and oppose. Help but ask, what was that burst of light just now? Tang San, with an innocent look, said, I don't and oppose. No either. He couldn't and oppose. Exactly tell his teacher about the 1,000 refinement, a reaction that occurred when forging reached a certain level with rare metals. 100 refined metals were top quality, and 1,000 refined metals even had a little spirituality. Although his current cultivation was far from his previous life and Oppo's level, producing such top-notch effects was still relatively easy for him. In fact, if Zhang Haoshuan hadn't an Oppo's been there looming over him like an eagle, he could have even further refined the metal. For now, he was simply refining the black crow stone. The biggest issue with black gold was that it required extremely high temperatures for forging. Once transformed into black gold, however, such high temperatures weren't and Oppo's necessary, as the furnace and Oppo's heat was sufficient. High temperatures were the only thing that genuinely affected black gold, as it could be softened under high heat. Beyond this, it feared almost no other elemental properties. As for its weakness against high temperatures, Tang San would find another way, such as matching it with another metal for alloy forging. But for now, such extreme considerations weren't and Oppo's necessary. Pure black gold by itself was already an excellent material for making hidden weapons. Zhang Haoshuan continued heating up the ore, and Tang San continued forging. Zhang Haoshuan quickly noticed that while Tang San seemed somewhat unskilled initially, he gradually became more proficient. The forging hammer swung vigorously in his hands, occasionally emitting bursts of light. The rhythmic hammering sound resonated beautifully within the blacksmith shop, as if carrying a unique melody. Over the years, Tang San had observed that the forging standards of this world were quite ordinary, perhaps due to the world and Oppo's abundant resources and the overwhelming strength of the demon and nymph races. Naturally, he couldn't and Oppo's reveal forging techniques far beyond this world and Oppo's level, but he could still employ some of the basic forging techniques that he knew. Piece by piece, the black crow stone was refined. Tang San wasn't and Oppo's hurrying to shape it. The most crucial task for now was to refine all the black crow stone into black gold. This required Zhang Haoshuan and Oppo's bloodline flame to reach the critical temperature. Once the black gold was produced, Tang San could proceed with forging using just the blacksmith shop and Appo's resources. After almost no rest, it wasn't and Appo's tea until the evening that Tang San finally finished forging the black gold. Watching the black crow stone transform into black gold, Zhang Haoxuan and Appo's face was astonished. Where did you get this spatial bag? Zhang Haoxuan asked. Now that the forging was done, he remembered noticing something that he hadn't seen his pupil use before. Tang San couldn't and Appo's just conjure black crow stone out of thin air, and transporting it was troublesome, so he decided not to hide the existence of his spatial bag from Zhang Haoxuan any longer. I brought it from Wind Wolf Town. Master, when I was leaving there, I encountered the Lord of Wind Wolf Town. I killed him and I devoured his bloodline power. That and Appo's why I was already at the Fifth Order when I arrived here, Tang San explained candidly. After spending these days together, he gradually accepted the Redemption Society and his master. There was no longer a need to hide certain things. Zhang Haoxuan and Appo's eyes flickered slightly. You were at the Fourth Order then, no? And he was at the Fifth? Tang San nodded. I know what you're thinking, but he was really badly injured from his fight with a powerful member of the Flash Leopard clan. I guess I just got lucky. Zhang Haoxuan and Appo's mouth twitched slightly. So, you and Appo's saying you instigated the war between the Wind Wolf and Flash Leopard clans? It was quite a heated battle, you know? Many powerful demons kicked the bucket. Even the ancestral court was alarmed, and it took great effort to suppress the conflict. Tang San blinked innocently. He wanted to kill me at the time. I couldn't and Appo's just let him, could I? As for what happened afterward, I wouldn't know. Nice way to sidestep responsibility. Zhang Haoxuan and Appo's expression was priceless as he gave Tang San a thumbs up. You sure are ruthless, kid. He had noticed it when Tang San led the team to kill demonic beasts. Not only was he decisive and struck hard when time came, but he was also able to keep his cool when needed. He had observed Tang San and Appo's team and Appo's performance throughout their journey. He was confident that without Tang San, the team would have likely achieved less than half of their results, not to mention taking down not one, but two winged tigers. Tang San and Appo's guidance in teamwork and combat skills, as witnessed by Zhang Haoxuan, had greatly impressed him. This child and Appo's display of selflessness and leadership talent was very satisfying. The reason he had agreed to that training was partly to assess Tang San. Only in real situations, hazardous ones, is one and Appo's true character revealed. Thank you, Master. With the last piece of black gold forged, Tang San contentedly stored it away. Zhang Haoxuan asked, what about your hammer? Aren't and Appo's you forging it today? Tang San shook his head, not today. I and Appo's am out of strength. I and Appo's I'll do it another day. After refining the black crow stone into metal, it feels much more malleable but less heat resistant. Next time I'll just use the blacksmith in Appo's shop. There and Appo's no need to trouble you. Alright. Then you should also head back and rest early. Zhang Haoxuan nodded. With this child, he was unsure how to guide him further. Or rather, there wasn't and Appo's much for him as a teacher to do, given Tang San and Appo's astonishing rate of growth. Tang San added, oh Master, where can I buy a detailed map of Kali City? I and Appo's like to purchase one. The small shops Don and Appo's seem to have it. Zhang Haoxuan asked in puzzlement, what do you need a detailed map for? Tang San replied innocently, to study. Getting familiar with the city should be good, right? Plus it helps me avoid danger in places I shouldn't and Appo's go. The maps used by the teachers in class are quite basic. Not very detailed. Zhang Haoxuan said, then come with me. I have one that you can use for now. Detailed maps are very precious, all hand-drawn. They are quite expensive. You can return it to me when you and Appo's redone with it. Okay, thank you, Master. Not having to spend money was, of course, the best. The need for hand-drawn maps showed that the technology of the demon continent was quite behind, still in the era of cold weapons through and through. Of course, the fact that firearms and the likes had not been developed could be simply because such things couldn't hold a candle to the individual strength of the beings here. When Tang San went to get the map from Zhang Haoxuan, he understood why the mayor had said it was very precious. The complete map was huge, made of a single piece of leather. It was about 6 square meters, and even folded it was a large piece. Tang San brought the piece of leather back to his residence and hung it up on the wall. A detailed and colorful map was immediately presented before his eyes. This map was many times more detailed than the ones Guanlongjiang used in class, depicting everything about Kali City in great detail. Even the surrounding mountains and the paths there were clearly marked. Tang San quickly located their academy town on the map, which even clearly showed the approximate number of houses in the city. The Redemption Academy was in Apos. On this map, either because it was built later, or because the mayor had felt it was better not to include it. Tang San began to search for the symbols of all the schools, memorizing them. There were 3 main levels of schools. The most common lower-level schools provided elementary education, which most demons and some vassals could attend. More advanced education required a certain status to attend. The top tier was naturally the nearby Kali Academy. Judging by Mei Gongzi and Apos' age, she likely was an Apos, attending the lowest level of elementary education. The mid-level general education was the most probable, and such schools in the vast Kali city numbered only 12. It became much more manageable after narrowing down the range, like waiting for a hare at a tree stump. For the next few days, Tang San spent his days attending school, and in the afternoons, he either went to the blacksmith to forge or down the mountain to observe the target schools. His days followed a regular pattern. However, after several days of continuous surveillance, there was no result. Mei Gongzi was nowhere to be seen. Tang San even revisited Kali Plaza but still did not spot Mei Gongzi. He couldn't and Apos. Keep asking around, so he had to resort to the most straightforward method. Continue surveying the schools. Through observation, Tang San noticed that these schools dismissed their students near dusk. After school, the demons would leave all at once. He also learned from his master that regular schools didn't and Apos have boarding facilities, meaning students would definitely go home after school. He devised a plan for himself: observe each ordinary school for 3 days. If Mei Gongzi appeared, he would surely spot her. As he watched the pupils come out, Tang San noticed that only some of these schools had human vassals attending. These were likely vassals of stronger bloodline races, but they were not on the same level as the demons and had to exit the school through side gates. This made Tang San and Apos' surveillance a bit easier, but after 6 continuous days in 2 schools, he still found nothing. The forging of black gold, on the other hand, was progressing smoothly. Tang San was also looking for metals that complemented black gold, but couldn't find any. On the bright side, he had already forged a pair of hammers for himself from black gold. They were tailored to his use, making his future forging much easier. Zhang Haoshuan was still very kind to him, having designated a special area for him in the blacksmith shop, separated from the other blacksmiths. Others could, at most, hear the sound of his hammering but couldn't and Apos see what he was forging. Not long after, the team that had left for training returned. The best way to describe their appearance upon returning was dirty and dusty. The group of 5 was almost all injured. Though the wounds didn't and Apos seemed severe, their rather dejected expressions indicated that the results were not as good as they had expected. Dubai quietly went to Tang San and Apos' room before Tang San could even inquire about the situation. "Little Tang, do you know? Their training results are far from ours," Dubai said mischievously as he closed the door. "Oh, how did the senior brothers and sisters in Apos' training go?" Tang San asked. Dubai explained they only killed a few low-order demonic beasts, the strongest just 4th order. Not a single 5th order. Far worse than us, I and Apos say. And I heard they even alarmed a group of demonic beasts. If it weren't and Apos for the teachers and Apos intervention, they might have been completely wiped out. They couldn't and Apos even reach the designated destination or see the target demonic beast. Tang San remarked, "Why do I feel like you and Apos re-enjoying their misfortune?" Dubai immediately straightened his face. "I and Apos, am not I one and Apos?" Admitted, "How could I take pleasure in their misfortune? Even though everyone used to say I was just a mascot with no real use, I wouldn't and Apos be happy at their bad luck. Alright, go back. The teachers are probably not in a good mood either, so Don and Apos show them this bad side of you," Tang San said somewhat helplessly. Tang San had already guessed that the results of this second training batch wouldn't and Appos be as good as theirs. His power in Wu Bingji and Appos were far greater than these children and Appos and his combat experience was far beyond theirs. Failure in their first external training was to be expected. However, if they could learn from this experience, they would surely gain something, and it wasn't an Appos all bad. The training summary came the next day. Naturally, the students from the second batch who had gone for the training were severely criticized. Listening to their recount of the entire process, Tang San thought that it wasn't an Appos actually that bad. Sadly, the difference compared to his batch was indeed stark. They hadn't an Appos gained much or found the targeted demonic beasts. The students hadn't an Appos improved much after this outing either, but they had experienced quite a few scares. However, this was a real battle experience and they did gain something from it. In Tang San and Appos' view, this was already a good outcome. The third batch would continue. It was only fair to give everyone a chance. The only difference for the third batch was that these 6 students knew they would be accompanied by teachers. This gave them a sense of security, which would surely affect their training results. But that couldn't and Appos be helped now. They needed to try multiple approaches. Tang San had been keeping a low profile recently, earnestly completing the training and assignments set by the teachers, studying hard and improving every day. He occasionally forged, and then creeped around the schools in succession. To the teachers in the academy, he said he was going to the blacksmith and Appos' shop, which Zhang Haoshuan could vouch for, so no one asked further questions. Thus he naturally had more time to go out. However, Tang San was quite frustrated that he had gained no new information after staking out at several schools in succession. He even began to doubt whether Mei Gongzi and Appos' mother had lied to him and Mei Gongzi wasn't and Appos' actually attending school. But judging from her mother and Appos' expression, it didn't and Appos' seem likely, and there was no need to deceive a child like himself. What to do? Continue the surveillance. Time flew by, and even by the end of the third batch of students in Appos' training, Tang San had still not found the school where Mei Gongzi studied. The situation of the third batch was somewhat better than the second. Knowing that teachers were accompanying them, the students were bolder and luckier in their actions, resulting in slightly better outcomes. During this period, Wu Bingji and Appos' injuries healed and he was training every day. Gu Li, Dubai, and Cheng Ziqing also stabilized their cultivation levels. It took a month for all the students to complete their training rounds. Although only the first batch had outstanding results, the teachers found upon evaluation that, as Tang San initially said, facing real and strong opponents in actual combat clearly yielded better results. The next step was consolidation and cultivation, allowing the students to assimilate the gains from their real combat experiences. Another month passed, and the most significant change for Tang San was his transition from 9 to 10 years old. Over these 2 months, frequently eating demonic beast meat, along with his own self-care and cultivation, brought significant changes to his body. He grew considerably taller, no longer looked as thin, and became more pleasing to the eye. There were also changes in his temperament. Initially, his performance had been far too dazzling, but he became very low-key. Apart from attending classes, other students rarely saw him. Through daily interactions with Dubai, Gu Li, and Cheng Zicheng, Tang San gradually enhanced his bloodline imprints steadily and continuously. Among these, Tang San had advanced his golden rock transformation to the 4th order, occasionally venturing to the back mountain to experiment with its flying capabilities. Gu Li and Appos' Chronocroc transformation and Dubai and Appos' Celestial Fox transformation had both reached the peak of the 3rd order. At this level, Tang San realized that advancement was indeed not easy. The higher the bloodline imprint tier, the more difficult it was to advance. He couldn't and Appos' devour and absorb too much of their bloodline power at once to avoid affecting them, so he had to progress gradually. Either way, excluding the negligible green jade vine, the other 5 imprints were doing rather well. After the fusion of the Winged Tiger transformation and the Wind Wolf transformation, Tang San named the new imprint the Wind Tiger transformation, and it was well established at the 6th order. The Flash Leopard and Golden Rock transformations were both at the 4th order, while the Celestial Fox and Chronocroc transformations were at the peak of 3rd order. As Tang San continually tempered his body, increasing its strength, his sixth-order cultivation gradually stabilized, and the sensation of overflowing energy gradually vanished. This was his most crucial change, laying the foundation for subsequent improvements. However, Tang San and Appo's mood was not good, and he was not all that excited by the steady improvement in his strength. Not being able to find Mei Gongzi and Appo's whereabouts meant he could never be happy. Moreover, as time passed, and the number of schools he watched over increased, his mood grew increasingly gloomy. Today it was the last of the middle schools he was guarding. Could it be that he had to go on to guard the elementary schools? That would take him a ridiculous amount of time. If nothing else works, I and Appo's LL just wait at Mei Gongzi and Appo's tea shop. She has to return there eventually, right? As long as she does, I and Appo's LL definitely see her there. No, still no sign of her. Even as the sky completely darkened, he still did not see the person he longed to meet. Tang San was truly disappointed. With dejection in his eyes, he headed back to the academy town. Tang San kept pondering all the possibilities in his mind. Where exactly could Mei Gongzi be studying? He had staked out all 12 middle schools, and although he had only visited the last one once, given his keen observation skills, he was fairly sure that another visit would do him no good. In other words, either Mei Gongzi was attending an elementary school, or Mei Gongzi and Appo's mother had deceived him, and she was not studying at any academy but was doing something else or had gone somewhere else. In the past month, he had visited the tea shop several times, yet he had never seen Mei Gongzi there. Could there be any other possibility? As Tang San pondered, he had already begun climbing the mountain. He was entering the vicinity of Kali Academy. As he climbed upward, suddenly, his spirit jolted slightly, and a marvelous feeling enveloped his heart. His eyes grew warm, and this warmth seemed to carry a hint of strange excitement. Indeed, his emotions were involuntarily stirred. What in Appo's happening? The discerning eye of heaven? Undoubtedly, this was a change brought about by the discerning eye of heaven, and it was not a premonition of a crisis. The celestial fox vision could observe fate, but it was only after reaching the fourth order that it could, to some extent, control and guide fate. Previously, during their battle with the winged tiger, Dubai achieved a breakthrough precisely because he made a critical move, shifting from observation to control. This led to his advancement to the fourth order. Luck, of course, comes in both good and bad forms. When misfortune approached, a user of the celestial fox vision naturally sensed it and instinctively made decisions to attract fortune instead and avoid disaster. Tang San and Appo's experienced much of what it felt like when good luck approached. After all, he and Appo's had the celestial fox bloodline for long, and he and Appo's deliberately explored it. He planned to wait until he broke through to the fourth order to sense and investigate it further carefully, and to figure out how to incorporate it into his strength. So, what was this feeling he was experiencing at the moment? His eyes felt hot, and an inexplicable excitement took over him. Could this signify good luck? Just then, footsteps echoed down from the mountain. The heavy footsteps, unmistakable even without looking, told Tang San that a demon was approaching. He quickly moved aside on the path. Encountering demons on this mountain road was not unusual. Teachers and students from Kali Academy used this route as well. He would only go another way at a fork in the road leading to the academy town when nearing Kali Academy. Most of the demon students at Kali Academy were of noble descent, and these nobles typically prided themselves in their status. They disdained to mistreat their vassals, especially since the academy town itself existed to serve Kali Academy. Thus, when students from Kali Academy encountered vassals from the academy town, they generally treated them decently, and some even greeted them amicably if they were in a good mood. Tang San had just stepped to the side of the road when he saw students from the demon clan descending from above. The group leader was about 2 meters tall, with thick golden hair cascading down his back and his eyes shimmering with a golden sheen. His appearance was almost indistinguishable from that of a human, which was quite unusual. If not for his vertical pupils, it would have been difficult to identify him as a demon. Before arriving at the Redemption Society, Tang San might not have been able to make such a judgment, but now he recognized it instantly. This was a member of the high-ranking demonic clan, a high-tier demon with a very powerful bloodline. Such demons could transform into human form. For them, being in a human form was more flexible and more convenient for daily life than their original form. It had even become a tradition. The fact that humans could become vassals to the demonic and nymph clans, and why human females were sometimes favored by the demon clans, was partly due to this. There was even a belief among the demon clan that humans were their descendants with an incomplete bloodline, inheriting the potential to take on a human form but not the potent strength of the demons. In fact, the higher the tier of the demon, the more they tend to believe in this theory. Unquestionably, this young member of a demon clan was very eye-catching, and the other demons following him clearly regarded him as their leader. However, at this moment, Tang San and Appo's gaze, despite its focus, did not dwell on this obviously golden bloodline demon and his significance. What he saw in his eyes was only the person next to this golden-haired demon. At this moment, a phrase involuntarily surfaced in Tang San and Appo's mind, but in the crowd once and again, I look for her in vain. When all at once I turn my head, I find her there where lantern light is dimly shed. Wazn and Appo's the stunningly beautiful girl walking beside the golden-haired demon, dressed in Kali Academy and Appo's uniform with long hair flowing behind her but no expression on her face, the very Mei Gongzi he had been searching for these many days? Upon seeing Mei Gongzi, Tang San felt like his brain had exploded, and everything became clear instantly. Mei Gongzi and Appo's mother had not deceived him. Mei Gongzi was attending school, but it was not a middle or elementary school. She studied at the preeminent higher-tier academy in Kali City, Kali Academy. In that instant, Tang San and Appo's thoughts became crystal clear. Mei Gongzi was a human vassal. There was no doubt about that. His divine consciousness couldn't and Appo's be mistaken. However, he didn't and Appo's know what kind of demonic god transformation Mei Gongzi possessed. At this moment, it appeared that she, as a human vassal, could walk alongside a young demon student with a golden bloodline, and her status seemed not low either. Coupled with the fact that her family and Appo's tea shop was located in such a place as Kali Square, Mei Gongzi and Appo's background became obvious. Without a doubt, her father had to be from a very powerful clan with a high-tier bloodline. Only this could account for her status and her attending Kali Academy. Just as Tang San and Appo's mind became enlightened and he finally understood the truth, suddenly his vision went dark. What are you looking at? Are you worthy to look at the prince? A towering figure stood before Tang San. A hand as large as a fan blocking the sunlight as it reached straight for his head. Tang San instinctively retreated, jumping backward. He pressed his hands forward in the air, and a gust of wind element propelled him backward, allowing him to avoid the other and Appo's grasp. You dare to dodge? The muscular demon student had no intention of letting him go and roared as he moved to advance. Enough! A voice with a bit of authority rang out. The muscular demon student instantly stopped. The Kali Academy students descending from the mountain also stopped in their tracks. For Tang San, others were of no consequence. His gaze remained fixed on Mei Gongzi. He noticed Mei Gongzi frowned slightly, while the golden-haired demon male student beside her smiled and said, Don and Appo's be angry, little bear, let and Appo's go. From start to finish, he never even glanced at Tang San. It was out of consideration for Mei Gongzi being a human that he spared Tang San, a mere vassal. Mei Gongzi instinctively cast her gaze toward Tang San, and their eyes met, causing Tang San and Appo's heart to tremble suddenly. Mei Gongzi and Appo's eyes showed a trace of surprise, as if she felt something familiar, but she couldn't and Appo's recognized Tang San immediately due to his significant changes over the past 2 months. As a person who had lived through 3 lifetimes, Tang San should have been far more composed, but at this moment, he felt a strong urge to rush forward, beat up everyone around Mei Gongzi, and embrace her to ease his longing. He clenched his fists unconsciously. The muscular demon little bear snorted. Be careful, boy. Lower your head. Tang San took a deep breath, forcibly restraining his inner impulses, and slowly lowered his head. Reason ultimately triumphed over recklessness. He couldn't and Appo's take action unless he invoked his divine consciousness. Otherwise, he might not be able to defeat these obviously top students of Kali Academy. Besides, even if he did win, what then? How would Mei Gongzi regard him now? Then he suddenly realized something. Could the golden-haired guy be trying to get close to Mei Gongzi? But the next moment he shrugged off the idea. Mei Gongzi was only about 13 or 14 years old. These students Warren and Appos, much older than he was. How could they have romances like that? And even if the thought crossed their minds, Kali Academy would not simply allow them to mix their bloodlines like that. In addition, Mei Gongzi didn't and Appos, seemed to be particularly close to him, nor did they show any intimate gestures. They were just ordinary classmates. Although still anxious thinking this way, Tang San felt much better. What comforted him most was that Mei Gongzi was so close to where he lived. This made things much more convenient. Senior brother. Tang San hurriedly rushed into Wu Bingji and Appos' room. What in Appos' wrong, little Tang? Why are you so agitated? Did you invent a new hidden weapon technique? Wu Bingji and Appos' eyes lit up with excitement as he spoke. He was very interested in Tang San and Appos' hidden weapon techniques, greatly aiding his control of the ice element. He had recently become proficient in the flicking dart technique. Tang San smiled and said, "Hidden weapon techniques are easy to discuss, but do you have any sparring partner tasks? Especially at Kali Academy? I and Appos, do you like to take one, preferably a long-term one if you can get me one? You want to take on a sparring partner task?" Wu Bingji looked at him in surprise and said, "You and Appos, too young. I and Appos, am afraid that one and Appos work. Especially at your age with such cultivation, exposure would be troublesome." No, the teachers definitely one and Appos, agree. Tang San quickly responded, "Senior brother, when have you ever seen me do something I and Appos am not sure about? I and Appos, I'll be careful. I just need a sparring task, doesn't an Appos, matter what it is as long as it an Appos, at Kali Academy." No way. Wu Bingji shook his head vehemently. Setting aside whether the teachers would agree, he did not. Seeing the less than stellar results of the second and third batches of students returning from real-world practice, he realized how important Tang San was. Although he didn't and Appos, know how his younger fellow disciple had learned so much, their gains had been immense with Tang San leading the team. Not only had they earned a lot of Naturi coins, but everyone had also significantly improved their strength. Nearly everyone had advanced, which was a wonderful thing. He was planning to go on a second field training with Tang San as soon as possible. Tang San responded without hesitation. "A brand new hidden weapon technique. I guarantee it in Appos, it'll be great." Wu Bingji and Appos' eye twitched. What kind of hidden weapon technique? Tang San thought for a moment and said, "I and Appos, I'll teach you a good one. Once you master it, it will be really powerful. Actually, if you master it, you can instantly kill demonic beasts at the 6th order. It and Appos, going to take you a long time though." Astonished, Wu Bingji looked at Tang San with wide eyes. How is that possible? Instantly killing 6th order demonic beasts? Although he was in the 6th order, and his recent comprehension was quite good with noticeable improvement, the physical strength of a 6th order demonic beast was not something humans could easily compare with. Facing a 6th order demonic beast one-on-one would require an arduous process to win, depending on the exact species. He instinctively didn't and Appos, believed Tang San and Appos' claim of instantly killing a 6th order demonic beast. But then thinking about how Tang San and Appos' previous boasts had all come true, he couldn't and Appos' help but want to believe. "You better not be bluffing," Wu Bingji said in surprise. "How could I possibly bluff? Let an Appos' give it a try. I and Appos, I'll demonstrate it to you. However, because of my demonic god transformation, I can and Appos really master this technique. Only your ice attribute can. But it requires a very delicate operation. I originally planned to teach it to you anyway so you can further develop it. Once you master this hidden weapon, we can go out for field training again. By then, even if we face a winged tiger like last time, we won and Appos be at a disadvantage anymore." "Really? Then show me quickly." Wu Bingji was the eldest brother, but he was still only 17. He was naturally curious about the miraculous hidden weapon technique Tang San described. Let and Appos, go outside then. A quick test will do. Tang San was determined to go to Kali Academy to accompany his past and future wife, even at the risk of exposing some of his secrets. Once it involved Mei Gongzi, he would cast aside all his deep thoughts and far-reaching plans. The two went outside and Wu Bingji asked curiously, "How do we test it?" "Stand more than 30 meters away from me," Tang San instructed, pointing at a distant spot. So far away, Wu Bingji was surprised. The power of hidden weapons was undoubtedly greatest at a medium distance, and 30 meters was already quite far. Even his icicles would lose momentum over such a distance. In addition, closer distances allowed the influence of spiritual power, but it couldn't and Appos keep up at greater distances. "Just trust me," Tang San urged, pushing him toward the designated spot. Soon the two stood 30 meters apart. Checking that no one else was around as it was nearly dinner time, Tang San took a deep breath. A green light swirled in his eyes, and a ball of turquoise green light slowly took shape in his right hand. The light appeared almost substantial, and instead of shining brightly, it just radiated a faint aqua hue. The invisible wind swirled around it as wind elemental energy continuously converged into it. Wind astral. This was truly the wind astral. After absorbing the bloodline imprint of the winged tiger, Tang San and Appos' original wind wolf bloodline imprint had undergone a complete transformation. Essentially, the stronger wind astral had devoured the basic wind blade, which made sense given that the winged tiger was inherently much stronger in terms of both order and bloodline tier. However, the aura of the wind wolf in Appos' bloodline persisted. After all, weaker though it was still a clan of the demon race, a level of existence above demonic beasts. This combination made Tang San and Appos' wind astral even more stable than the winged tiger and Appos' original one. Watching the green light sphere deepen in color, Wu Bingji was secretly astonished. As far as he remembered, even when Tang San used the compressed wind blade, it never took this long to prepare. Yet now it had already been brewing for over 10 seconds. "Senior brother, activate your ice elemental physique and create an ice shield." "Actually, make it triple," Tang San said as the green light in his hand suddenly split into two, forming two aqua-green spheres of light. "Alright." Knowing Tang San and Appos' prowess, Wu Bingji didn't and Appos' dare to be negligent. He quickly activated his elemental physique and conjured 3 ice shields before himself. Tang San took a deep breath, his eyes shining brightly. In the next instant he flicked his wrists, launching the 2 green spheres. The 2 spheres flew through the air with a faint whoosh, heading straight for Wu Bingji. Wu Bingji couldn't and Appos' help but wonder if Tang San was planning to use the explosive power of the wind element. Such a tactic wasn't and Appos' unheard of, but it was well known that the cutting force of the wind element was far more effective than its explosive power. The speed of the wind blade was also greater than the speed of these 2 approaching spheres. What was he doing? Just as the 2 green spheres approached, he braced for whatever was to come. Whatever ability it would soon reveal itself. The 2 green spheres collided with his first ice shield. Contrary to his expectations, there was no explosion. Instead, the 2 green spheres were deflected upward. "Is that it?" Wu Bingji blurted out. He had barely felt an impact. But the next moment he witnessed a strange sight. The 2 deflected spheres traced an arc in the air before colliding with each other. With a soft puff, the 2 green spheres shattered. In an instant, hundreds of green flashes burst forth, covering the entire space in front of Wu Bingji. Wu Bingji instinctively ducked as a series of soft thuds continuously erupted against his ice shield. There wasn't an Appos' much force, but he soon felt a stinging pain all over his body. He instinctively retreated, focusing all his energy on fortifying his ice elemental physique. Once the series of thuds ceased, he looked closely and couldn't and Appos' helped but gasp. His 3 ice shields in front of him were riddled with holes, yet bizarrely they hadn't and Appos' collapsed. Meanwhile, his whole body was throbbing with pain, and his clothes had turned into tatters. If it weren't and Appos' for the considerable defensive strength of his ice elemental physique, he might have been turned into a sieve just now. "Is this a hidden weapon technique?" Wu Bingji was filled with intense shock. and he was frozen in place, unable to react. Tang San had already approached him. "Senior brother, are you alright?" he quietly asked. Wu Bingji looked up at him, his eyes full of shock. How did you do this? Tang San chuckled. Control. It and Appos. It's all about controlling the elements. Impressive Iasin and Appos Tiet? This is too powerful. 30 meters. And still such force. What kind of divine hidden weapon technique is this? Wu Bingji looked at Tang San, his mouth dry and eyes filled with wonder. Let an Appos. Go we and Appos. LL talk when we're inside. Tang San pulled Wu Bingji back to his dwelling as Wu Bingji and Appos' current state was too bizarre to be seen by others. In Wu Bingji and Appos' room, Tang San closed the door, turned to Wu Bingji with a grin and said, "This is a hidden weapon technique I and Appos' we've been working on over the past month. The problem is that I can't really do it very well because the wind element is not very well suited to it. But by the time I realized this, I'd already invested too many hours of work into it. And then I thought, hold on a moment, wind might not be the best element for it, but if you try it using ice, it should produce incredible power. Tell me quickly, what in Appos' the trick to it?" Wu Bingji asked eagerly. "I call this the soul-chasing cluster ball. See those two light spheres? They are the and Appos' mother and Appos' balls. But the true power lies hidden within them. Do you remember I told you that once you can compress icicles into ice needles, your long-range attacks will improve? They can break through all kinds of strong defenses. Even the tough bodies of demonic beasts might not withstand it. I can now use ice needles to some extent, and you're right, they really have incredible penetrating power," Wu Bingji said excitedly. This was his latest outstanding achievement. Controlling the ice element to compress it into ice needles greatly aided his overall cultivation and experience with the ice element. Thus, he truly admired Tang San. Tang San explained, "The reason I'm saying that the soul-chasing cluster ball would be well suited for you is that you can use it with the ice needles. I said that the balls are the and Appos, mothers and Appos, right? Well, the and Appos, children and Appos, are a bunch of smaller weapons hidden inside. I Don and Appos have control over ice, so what I hide inside are wind needles. But how can the power of wind needles compare to ice needles? The penetrating power of ice needles is much greater. Also, once an ice needle pierces into an enemy and Appos' body, as long as you can connect with your spiritual power, you can make them explode and cause even more damage. Imagine that power." Hearing this, Wu Bingji Kuden and Appos' helped but gasp in amazement. "That works. You mean to say, using an ice element shell to cover many ice needles, then flicking them out with a technique to make them collide and explode at a distance. How is that even possible?" He had just finished speaking when he remembered Tang San and Appos' recent display. Thinking back, it indeed was as his junior brother had said. And if Tang San could do it, then what prevented him from doing the same? Tang San smiled slightly and said, "Senior brother Don and Appos' worry there and Appos' a knack to it. Let me explain it slowly. Your ice element is much more powerful than my wind element, at least in this aspect, so it and Appos' will be more difficult for you to use. This secret technique will take you a long time to practice, but as long as you progress step by step following my method, I think you and Appos' soon be able to use it easily. Now think of what I told you earlier. If you really master this, Don and Appos', do you think it can one-shot a 6th-order demonic beast?" Wu Bingji blinked and pondered over the power of his ice needles. The soul-chasing cluster ball in Appos' explosion can accelerate the ice needles within? And it and Appos' not a gradual acceleration but an all-out push? Tang San nodded and replied, "Of course, it all depends on how you use the ice explosion technique. It and Appos' different from the wind element. But I and Appos' have already thought it through for you. Let and Appos' take it step by step." Wu Bingji and Appos' mouth twitched. "Well, all right. But you can and Appos' get past the teacher and Appos' test. How can you work at Kali Academy? You and Appos' too young." He knew that Tang San wasn't an Appos' teaching him this marvelous hidden weapon technique for nothing. His junior brother had already stated his intentions, so it was clear that he wanted Wu Bingji to help him. Tang San said, "I and Appos' will figure out a way with master. You just find me a way to get in, preferably one the teachers will easily agree to. Wu Bingji smiled. You and Appos. Re always full of surprises. I Don and Appos. T know what you and Appos. Re up to this time. Let me think about it and I and Appos. LL tell you tomorrow. Alright, no rush. I trust you, senior brother. Today I and Appos. LL teach you the basics of the soul-chasing cluster ball, and you can start practicing from there. Let and Appos. Take it step by step, Tang San generously said, showing no intention of waiting for Wu Bingji to sort things out before teaching him. Okay, Wu Bingji responded without hesitation, genuinely interested in Tang San and Appos' hidden weapon technique. Do you remember the flicking dart I taught you? Tang San said. Let and Appos' start with an enhanced version of it. It and Appos' also the basis of the soul-chasing cluster ball. Enhanced flicking dart? Wu Bingji asked curiously. Tang San nodded and asked, when you use the flicking dart to launch ice needles, how far can they maintain their power? Wu Bingji thought for a moment and replied, within a range of 30 meters, the power doesn't and Appos' diminish. Beyond 30 meters, the power gradually decreases, and the compressed ice element becomes unstable. As for detonation, I can also do that within 30 meters right now. Tang San nodded and said, then with this enhanced flicking dart, you can increase that distance by at least 20 meters. And it and Appos' will be easier to detonate as well. How? Wu Bingji and Appos' eyes lit up. This was a more practical and effective way to improve his strength. Tang San explained. We and Appos' utilize the ice explosion and add an ice bead at one end of the needle. You can control it within 30 meters, right? So, when it comes close to that distance, you can detonate the ice bead and let the explosive force push the ice needle so you can get a second acceleration. This way, the ice needle will be much faster and penetrate much deeper. You and Appos' probably be unable to detonate it afterward, but I think the ice needle itself would be pretty unstable. After all, it and Appos' very concentrated energy and it and Appos' getting away from you. The more energy you put into it, the more likely it is to explode on its own when it hits something. Wu Bingji was stunned and asked, would that work? How can we ensure that the energy generated by the exploding ice bead will push the needle forward? As expected, he immediately realized the issue with this idea. Tang San chuckled. That and Appos' where the real skill comes in. What if you put the ice bead and needle inside a tube? Imagine a cylinder just large enough to fit the bead. Once it explodes, the force can only be released forward and backward. And then if you block one end of the cylinder, the whole force of the explosion should come out the other end, no? You can try first without throwing it. Hold it in your hand first and you and Appos' understand naturally. Actually, you can even make the needle flat on one end like a mini icicle, and that way it and Appos' take more of the explosive force and move faster. Can it be done like that? Wu Bingji stared at Tang San dumbfounded. I Don and Appos' know how your brain works. This is the experience of living 3 lifetimes. Tang San thought to himself. The soul-chasing cluster ball, originally made of metal, was a powerful hidden weapon and ranked among the top, even among all the hidden weapons Tang San could make. He previously used a basic version with the wind element. Of course, when targeting Wu Bingji, he hadn't and Appos' used the wind astral to deploy the wind needles. Otherwise, Wu Bingji, Wuden and Appos' have been able to block them. The fundamental skills necessary to use the soul-chasing cluster ball were undoubtedly challenging to learn. Even Tang San, with his liquid spiritual power and experience from his past, needed a long time to accumulate and control the necessary energy. For Wu Bingji to master it, certainly Wuden and Appos' be an easy task. However, in comparison, the ice element was indeed much more straightforward to cultivate. In this respect, Tang San didn't and Appos' deceive Wu Bingji. The ice element was more stable than the wind element to begin with, and it was easy to fashion into a solid shape. Moreover, the concentrated energy could be detonated to great effect. When utilized well, it made the soul-chasing cluster ball much easier to use than the wind element. Of course, it still required step-by-step practice. Tang San and Appos' method of propelling the ice needle for a second launch was inspired, to some extent, by the guns and the cluster bombs of his previous life. Theoretically, it was perfectly feasible to reproduce the same effects using the energy in this world. The base of the ice cylinder must be stable, and the ice bead inside needs to be independent, which means you should be able to detonate it independently rather than together with the ice cylinder and Apo's base. Then the front ice needle should be tightly combined with the ice bead, and the ice needle should sit inside the cylinder without leaving any gaps. This way, when you detonate, all the force can be fully applied to the ice needle. At the same time, you must ensure that the recoil is contained. Do you understand what I mean? Tang San continued to explain to Wu Bingji. I kinda understand. Wu Bingji nodded. Being very intelligent, he had roughly grasped the method through Tang San and Apo's description. In that case, let me do a demonstration for you without focusing on power. This way you can see it. Tang San extended his right hand as he spoke, and a wind needle formed from wind elemental energy gradually took shape in his palm. Then, a small wind bead was condensed behind the wind needle, followed by a base to encase the wind bead and the needle. The wind elemental energy at the tail end of the wind needle expanded slightly, sealing the gaps. Just like that. Watch closely, Tang San said as he detonated the wind ball. With a whistling sound, the wind needle at the front was propelled forward, piercing into the wall and leaving a dent in it, clearly not all the way through. Tang San and Apo's use of the wind element was impressive, and the underlying principle was fully demonstrated before Wu Bingji. Let and Apo's do it again. Tang San once more condensed a wind needle with a propeller. He flicked it with his finger, and the wind needle shot like lightning. After traveling 3 meters, a burst of green light at the tail flashed as the internal wind ball exploded. The fast-moving wind needle accelerated a second time with the burst of green light, shooting out like a phantom and piercing the wall, this time creating a small hole. Wu Bingji inhaled sharply. Now it was crystal clear. Tang San had demonstrated the feasibility of secondary propulsion right in front of him. As for Wu Bingji, he was very confident in his compressed ice needles. The needles themselves had impressive penetrating power. If his ice needle could achieve a secondary acceleration, its power would be incomparable to the wind needles Tang San had just used. This concept of secondary acceleration alone opened a completely new door when it came to hidden weapons, not to mention the soul-chasing cluster ball. Imagine if many ice needles were hidden within an ice ball. The ice ball explodes, propelling the ice needles, which undergo a secondary acceleration, immensely boosting their penetrating power. The range of attack could be significantly extended. If the ice needles penetrate an enemy in Apo's body, and if the energy condensed into ice needles is properly calculated, they could even explode inside the target. The power of that. As Wu Bingji fantasized, his eyes blazed with excitement, his mouth agape almost drooling. If he could successfully execute this technique, the power would be unimaginable. Tang San Tang San chuckled. No need to thank me. This technique suits you best, senior brother. First, perfect this enhanced version of the ice needle, and then we can practice the next step. It and Apo's. It's not hard to condense one, but to do it quickly depends on your control of the ice elements. It one and Apo's. Take long to succeed with your ice elemental physique. The quicker you condense them and produce more, the greater your combat power will be. Wu Bingji nodded repeatedly. He didn't and Apo's even dare to dream of using the soul-chasing cluster ball right now. For now, he just hoped to master this secondary propulsion technique. I and Apo's. Go ahead then. See you at the cafeteria later. Tang San was confident about convincing Zhang Haoshuan. After all, Zhang Haoshuan was privy to his secrets. He just needed to tell Zhang Haoshuan that he wanted to visit Kali Academy to observe the abilities of various demonic beast races, and find bloodlines more suitable for him to absorb. Zhang Haoshuan would likely agree. After all, Tang San had proven time and again his ability to protect himself and his mature mindset. Tang San taught Wu Bingji not just for assistance in this particular case, but also with the genuine hope of enhancing the strength of their small team. Chang Zicheng and Gu Li would take a long time to master the disorder wind-splitting hammer. For the mascot, having the purple demon eyes was the most effective. Wu Bingji was exceptionally gifted in terms of elemental control, and helping him strengthen this aspect was the best way to enhance his combat abilities. Once Wu Bingji broke through to the 7th order, things would change completely. The following day, Wu Bingji quietly approached Tang San and told him that there was, in fact, a way to do things so he could get to Kali Academy. Tang San couldn't and oppose T become a sparring partner. He was only 10 years old, and to do so at such a young age without raising suspicion among the demons was just wishful thinking. However, if he just wanted to enter Kali Academy, that was different. Besides sparring with the demons, there were other jobs at Kali Academy. Being a janitor was always an option if he couldn't and oppose T be a sparring partner. The Academy town was created to serve Kali Academy, and Zhang Haoshuan managed the entire town. Therefore, how to provide services to Kali Academy was entirely up to Tang San and Appo's master. Do you want to observe? Zhang Haoshuan asked Tang San when they met at noon. Yeah, I want to see if they're in Appo's a demonic god transformation more suitable for me. I and Appo's am now at the 6th order and I should be able to integrate another ability. The stronger the bloodline I integrate, the greater my power will be. Tang San said to Zhang Haoshuan. Zhang Haoshuan frowned slightly. Are you sure you can merge with a higher-tier demonic god transformation? The ones he had seen Tang San integrate before were almost all low-tier. Tang San replied, not only that, but I can also switch between them. He did not want to hide this from Zhang Haoshuan anyway. After all, Zhang Haoshuan already knew his most important secret, and knowing more would enable him to better cooperate with Tang San. Whether initially through his divine consciousness or later through the celestial fox vision, Tang San was sure that this master could be trusted. Otherwise, he would probably have been taken away by the Redemption Society and someone would be experimenting on him right now. Zhang Haoshuan looked at him in surprise. Freeze! Tang San commanded in a low voice. Zhang Haoshuan and Appo's body stiffened slightly. It was just for an instant, but the next moment his eyes widened. Is it time freeze? Guli and Appo's chrono croc transformation. Zhang Haoshuan looked at Tang San in shock, suddenly feeling like he couldn't and Appo's breathe. Tang San grinned. I and Appo's spent plenty of time with Guli and slowly absorbed it. It replaced the ironhide shield that I originally got from a rhino demon. Zhang Haoshuan inhaled sharply. The Chrono Croc transformation was a second-tier demonic god transformation bloodline. It was one of the top bloodlines in the entire Redemption Society. If Tang San could learn the Chrono Croc transformation, that means he can also acquire high-tier abilities. As he was still in shock, he saw Tang San and Appo's back light up with an orange-red glow, and 2 wings of light unfolded behind him, stirring the air and lifting him up. Golden Rock transformation. Zhang Haoshuan subconsciously clenched his fists while Tang San deactivated his power and stood before him again. I and Appo's am thinking that, obviously Kali Academy must also have powerful demonic god transformations. I want to go and see, maybe I can learn something. You understand, Tang San said with a longing expression. Zhang Haoshuan and Appo's breathing became noticeably heavier. Reason tells me I should report this to the organization and protect you as the most important asset. Do you have any idea how much what you just did could do to upend the world? Tang San looked at him thoughtfully. Master, I and Appo's already given you the specific methods of cultivation. It and Appo's not that I am precious, but the mysterious heaven technique is. Idon and Appo's know where it came from, and Idon and Appo's have more information than I gave you about how it works. That and Appo's why I need to experiment more to see its limits. Only then can we better find how it fits with us humans and give humanity a chance to rise. Zhang Haoshuan closed his eyes, murmuring, But do you realize what it would mean if your secret were discovered? Tang San smiled faintly. I and Appo's thought about this issue a long time ago. If I'm accidentally discovered one day, I and Appo's I'll just be an individual. Whether they kill me or I end my own life, I and Appo's I'll never let slip one word about the mysterious heaven technique. Only the 2 of us know about this. No matter what, I will hide it as much as possible, and I need you to help me hide it too. Even if I die 10 years, 100 years from now, until our Redemption Society is better established and we can cultivate more strong individuals, the mysterious heaven technique must not be exposed. Otherwise, humanity will be in the greatest danger. You said that yourself, didn't an Appo's to you? Zhang Haoshuan nodded silently. It was precisely because of this consideration that he hadn't an Appo's reported the mysterious heaven technique. Once reported, it would be out of his control. If the organization decided to let more ordinary people learn it, keeping it secret would be almost impossible, which could easily spell disaster for humanity. Honestly, I genuinely can and Appos. Understand how these words can come from a 10-year-old. Tang San, do you know? I and Appos even thought. Maybe you and Appos, a savior sent by the heavens to save humanity. I and Appos. We also considered that you might be a spy sent by the demons. I hope it and Appos s the former. The latter is unlikely because a being like you would be an absolute top genius, even among the demons. They wooden and Appos. Risk sending you just to handle a bunch of humans. I will do everything possible to protect you, but you must promise me that you will protect yourself as well. You and Appos. Just too important to all of humanity, Zhang Haoshuan said earnestly. Don and Appos worry I value my life. After all, I and Appos have already died enough times. Tang San silently complained in his heart. Alright then, whatever you want, I and Appos. I'll cooperate with you. You can observe, but Don and Appos act rashly. Tang San didn't and Appos know how Zhang Haoshuan explained it to the other teachers, but he soon received a notification from Wu Bingji. He could now work at Kali Academy. The job was simple. Sweeping the courtyard 3 days a week. Indeed, it was just that. And thus, Tang San became a janitor at Kali Academy. The remaining 4 days would naturally be spent studying and cultivating at Redemption Academy. Someone else would take over the sweeping duties if there were any outside practical training sessions. Undoubtedly, Zhang Haoshuan and Appos' arrangement for him was comprehensive. There were no immediate plans for outdoor training. After the students of Redemption Academy were divided into 3 groups for separate training excursions, the following period was for self-reflection, as well as targeted guidance for individual problems. Tang San very much approved of this approach. Train, reflect, then train again. Rinse and Tang San followed him into the small house, which was sparsely furnished. One side was piled with brooms, buckets, and the like, while the other side had a table and several stools that looked like they could break at any moment. Old Mao sat down on a stool, looking at Tang San and said, and quote, "You should know where you are. Being able to work in the academy means the mayor has recognized you as a talent. So, while working here you must abide by the rules. Abiding by the rules is not just for yourself but for everyone in our town. Although they are acting with some restraint toward us workers in the academy, if you provoke them, that will be your end. And it one and Appos. Just be you who dies, you and Appos. Implicate everyone." End quote. End quote. Yes, end quote. Tang San agreed. Old Mao said indifferently, end quote. Remember, do not speak. When you work, act as if you are mute, always keep your head down. And do not look anywhere else that's not your direct responsibility. Don and Appos, TC Don and Appos. Listen Don and Appos speak. What you think and what you feel is none of my business, but what you do is. Most importantly, Don and Appos. Cause trouble for me or anyone else. If you can do this, you can keep working here. Otherwise, you and Appos, I'll have to leave. I was reluctant to take a little naive child like you in. But the mayor assured me that you would be all right. For everybody's sake, I hope you prove him right. End quote. End quote. Yes. End quote. Tang San felt rather odd as he listened to Old Mao and Appos' admonition. Having lived 3 lives and once been a god king, being lectured was indeed a peculiar experience. Of course, he wooden and Appos get angry with Old Mao. He understood the meaning behind the old man and Appos' words. Everything was for the sake of the human vassals in the academy and Appos' town. In a society like the Demon Continent, the elders' way of acting was not wrong. It was for the best. End quote. Let and Appos go. I and Appos. I'll take you to where you and Appos. I'll be working. Starting today, you and Appos. I'll begin your work. End quote. Immediately, Old Mao had him take up the tools and led him out of the house. The main teaching building of Kali Academy was an imposing structure, over 50 meters tall, but it only had 5 floors. It was visible even from the academy town. Kali Academy had over 1,000 students, divided into 6 grades for teaching. The grades had no particular time limit, and students needed to pass the assessment of one grade to advance to the next and continue their cultivation. Assessments were held every 6 months. This meant that if your strength was sufficient, you could graduate in 3 years. But if you were not capable enough, you might never graduate. Thus, not all students could actually graduate from Kali Academy. The open space in front of the main teaching building was vast and empty, with the ground made of smooth and flat stone. The stones were arranged into various patterns, with the most prominent being the crests of the 10 strongest demon clans. There were no traces of the nymph tribes to be seen here. Old Mao pointed out the area to be cleaned. End quote. Remember Don and Appos, try to be clever here. No matter what your demonic god transformation is, do not use it while working. Just maintain your human form for cleaning. Work diligently. At noon, return to our side for lunch. Then, continue working in the afternoon. Generally speaking, cleaning is done twice daily. Apart from these 2 times, if you see any dirty spots, clean them immediately. End quote. After finishing his instructions, Old Mao signaled Tang San to start. Tang San began to sweep along the square and Appos' edge, with Old Mao watching from the side. Tang San understood he was being supervised to see if he could complete the work steadily. He worked here not to earn money through labor but to meet Mei Gongzi. He swept at a steady pace, maintaining a consistent rhythm. Old Mao watched for a while and was quite satisfied with Tang San and Appos' performance. At least from his behavior, it was evident that he was not an impatient child. Half an hour later, Old Mao left. Tang San continued to sweep slowly on his own. Although the work here was somewhat monotonous, for Tang San, boredom was trivial. What surprised him was the richness of the spiritual energy of heaven and earth here, likely due to some array within Kali Academy that enhanced it. While sweeping, he quietly activated the mysterious heaven technique, absorbing the spiritual energy to nourish his body. He was in no hurry, and as he swept the yard slowly, he slowly cultivated. His body had undergone significant changes since he consumed the dragon tendon fruit. He was now deliberately tempering his body, unlike before when he made himself appear frail to conceal his true strength. The entire morning passed in such sweeping. When Old Mao returned, he saw an almost spotless square and Tang San clearing away the swept-up debris. End quote. Time for lunch. How come it took you this long? End quote. Old Mao looked at the boy before him in surprise. Tang San wiped the slight sweat from his forehead and smiled. End quote. I also cleaned up some fallen leaves and weeds in the shrubbery. It seemed to me like something that had to be done anyway, so I went ahead and did it. End quote. End quote. All right, let and Appos' go eat. End quote. Old Mao responded. The academy and Appos' meals were uniform, at least for the workers. Simple and plain food was the norm, something Tang San was accustomed to, undoubtedly much poorer than inside the academy. Before coming here, Zhang Haoshuan reminded him that he could bring his food, but Tang San chose not to. It would be too conspicuous and might look odd to his fellow workers. Throughout the meal, neither Old Mao nor Tang San spoke. After eating, Tang San quietly cleaned up the utensils and found a quiet corner to sit and meditate. After resting for about 2 hours, Tang San picked up his broom and cleaning tools again and returned to the main teaching building square to continue sweeping. Old Mao seemed to approve of his quiet nature, watching him with softer eyes in the afternoon. Naturally, others had done this job before, and he was well aware that 2 hours of sweeping was usually enough, and even just an hour in the afternoon would suffice. So the job was not very tiring. But Tang San had swept for nearly 4 hours in the morning and only rested for 2 hours at noon before resuming, which made Old Mao think that this child was quite diligent. Little did he know, Tang San only did it to spend more time on the square, hoping to see a particular person. He hadn't an Appos' seen her all morning. Students from the demon clans rarely appeared on this side of the main teaching building square, perhaps because this area was just for show. Occasionally, he could see a few students, but they were just passing by. Tang San was not in a rush. Knowing that Mei Gongzi was studying here was enough. He was bound to encounter her eventually. No matter the academy and Appos' size, it was still an enclosed area, and there were only so many places students could go to. After a day of sweeping, the entire square felt completely fresh when Old Mao came to check in the evening. There wasn't an Appos' even a tiny stain on the ground. It was immaculate and tidy. The greenery around the square was neatly trimmed, giving a harmonious feel. In his previous life, Tang San and Appo's leading martial spirit was the blue-silver grass, which later evolved into the blue-silver emperor, the emperor of all plants. He had a naturally strong affinity for plants. That was why he had chosen the green jade vine as his sixth bloodline imprint. He was hoping that by enhancing it, he could gradually strengthen it and use some of his previous life and Appo's abilities. Those were the abilities he was most familiar with. While tending to the greenery, he naturally employed the green jade vine to absorb some of the life essence unique to the plant world, nurturing his own green jade vine bloodline imprint. Even with the discerning eye of heaven, he hadn't Appo's been as focused as this. Of course, this was also because other bloodline imprints couldn't and Appo's be nurtured by the energy in the air. Due to its lower order, only the green jade vine made Tang San distinctly feel the imprint becoming more active as he slowly absorbed this life energy into it. This wasn't Appo's an enhancement of his bloodline power but purely an enhancement of the life energy of the bloodline imprint. Tang San didn't Appo's know what effects this improvement would bring, but he wanted to try. With no NIM students here, it wasn't Appo's easy for him to further enhance the order of the green jade vine, but he needed to understand more about the plants of this world. Through the green jade vine and Appo's interaction with these common plants, he could gain some insights, just like how he had some new realizations after consuming the dragon tendon fruit earlier. As evening approached, Tang San and Appo's day of work ended. After bidding farewell to Old Mao, he headed back to the academy town. Leaving his residence, he walked toward the back gate, passing by the cultivation area of Kali Academy. Tang San deliberately slowed his pace, occasionally glancing around. With his discerning eye of heaven combined with the purple demon eyes, he could see everything within his line of sight in incredible detail, and he clearly memorized these locations. He wanted to see Mei Gongzi. Unfortunately, it seemed that his luck wasn't Appo's good today, and he didn't Appo's see any traces of her. As Tang San walked to the back gate, slightly disappointed, an idea suddenly struck him. The celestial fox vision could sense fate, and upon reaching the fourth order, it seemed that Dubai could even somewhat control it. So, if he could also elevate his own celestial fox vision to the fourth order and control his fate to some extent, would his luck improve, allowing him to meet Mei Gongzi as he wished? With this thought, Tang San and Appo's eyes suddenly lit up. No wonder the celestial fox vision was considered a top-tier bloodline. Its applications were indeed extensive. If the celestial fox demon emperor knew someone was planning to use its celestial fox vision to chase a girl, it would probably be fuming with anger. Considering this possibility, Tang San decided it was time to get closer to Dubai. He returned to the Redemption Academy just in time for dinner. His work at Kali Academy wasn't Appo's a secret, though the teachers hadn't Appo's disclosed the nature of it to the other students, so nobody was surprised to see him appear. Having now spent some time at the academy, especially after the training trip, Tang San had now integrated well into the group, particularly with a few people he was familiar with. Tang San sat down next to Dubai, who was eating his meal, and told him, end quote, "Come to my room later." End quote. End quote. Okay. End quote. Dubai nodded, turning to look at Tang San with an inquiring gaze, his eyes sparkling brightly. As his spiritual power increased, he found his affinity toward Tang San growing stronger. With his understanding of the celestial fox vision, he naturally realized that fate was guiding him to spend more time with Tang San, and that would somehow be incredibly beneficial for him. He had felt this way since childhood. Those he felt close to usually ended up helping him significantly. If he disliked someone, it usually meant that person was problematic in some way, at least not good for him, or perhaps not a good person at all. Wu Bingji was the first to finish dinner. Recently, he'd been feeling that there was never enough time as he immersed himself daily in his ice needle acceleration training. Just mastering ice needle acceleration was challenging, let alone the cluster soul-chasing ball, which was still a faraway goal. The main reason was his lack of spiritual power. He had recently spent a fortune on a rare treasure that boosted spiritual power. It had nearly drained the entire fortune of this frugal senior brother, causing him genuine distress. Just the day before, he had told Tang San that once he mastered the second level of ice needle acceleration, he planned to go out for training again, as he was running low on funds. Not only Wu Bingji had this thought, but almost all members of Tang San and Appo's team felt the same. This was because their gains from the first time were simply too significant. With the gains from that time, they had all purchased some items to enhance their strength, creating a virtuous cycle that made increasing their power easier and faster. With this feeling of accelerated improvement, who would want to train in a routine and orderly manner? Gu Li and Appo's experience was particularly profound. Just yesterday he had defeated Zhang Zibin for the first time using the disorder wind-splitting hammer, truly flaunting his prowess. With the strengthened control of his fifth-order Chrono Croc transformation, coupled with the continuous attacks of his tail hammer, Gu Li and Appo's combat power was now among the top in the academy. Du Bai followed Tang San back to his room. End quote. What in Appo's up? Is there something good happening? End quote, he asked cheerfully. Tang San chuckled and quote, what more good things do you want? I just wanted to ask how your spiritual power has been improving recently. How long until you can completely liquefy your spiritual power? End quote. Du Bai rolled his eyes. End quote. Hey, it's not that easy. Even Teacher Guan and the two Mu teachers Haven and Appo's managed to do it yet, and I and Appo's am only at the fourth order. Well, in any case, I can feel that when I practice the purple demon eyes you taught me, my spiritual power becomes more concentrated and easier to turn into a liquid. It and Appo's. It's just a pity that the time for the morning purple chi is too damn short every day. End quote. End quote. Don and Appo's rush it. The practice of the purple demon eyes requires constant accumulation and nurturing. Your eyes Wooden and Appo's be able to take too much at once. It and Appo's best if you can keep improving your spiritual power, but I have another training method. Wanna try it? End quote. Du Bai paused. End quote. What method? End quote. End quote. Exhaustion. Use up your spiritual power as much as possible. After you do that, when it recovers, it and Appo's improve to some extent. This should work better than regular cultivation. It should work for both you and Gu Li. End quote. End quote. How should I do that? End quote. Du Bai asked, somewhat distressed. End quote. It and Appo's easy for Brother Gu to deplete his power if he just keeps using time freeze. But my celestial fox vision is a passive ability. Even if I try to influence luck, it can only speed up the drain rate a little. I can and Appo's use it all in one shot like last time, so I guess I need a really strong kick to make me spend all that energy. End quote. Tang San nodded. End quote. I think I understand. That means with strong triggers, your celestial fox vision becomes stronger. An example would be maxing out on luck. But draining energy would make you weak, like how you fainted last time, right? End quote. End quote. Pretty much. The fainting was from the backlash of draining my energy. Last time was too harsh. I recovered faster with the breakthrough to the fourth order. Otherwise, it would have taken even longer. End quote. Tang San nodded. End quote. Then we could try that. For example, if you were in a near-death state, would that count as a trigger? End quote. Du Bai was stunned. Near death? How should I know? End quote. A glint flashed in Tang San and Appo's eyes, and suddenly, Du Bai felt a sharp pain in his eyes. The next moment, Tang San and Appo's right hand shot like lightning, grabbing Du Bai and Appo's forehead. Du Bai shivered all over, instantly becoming rigid. He felt a sucking force from Tang San and Appo's hand as if something was being stripped away from inside him. A strong sense of crisis instantly spread throughout his body, feeling as if he might die in the next instant. End quote. End quote, Du Bai exclaimed, but his voice was immediately stifled by Tang San and Appo's other hand grasping his throat. He looked at Tang San in disbelief and saw his end quote, junior brother end quote, smiling innocently as if he wasn't Appo's choking Du Bai and draining his energy. Du Bai quickly felt that he was starting to hallucinate, as if his sea of consciousness had completely solidified. The intense fear made him smell death approaching. No, it can and Appo's be. How could Tang San harm me? Tang San and Appo's eyes narrowed slightly as he continuously observed Du Bai and Appo's changes. Tang San and Appo's words were not to deceive Du Bai. Du Bai and Appo's cultivation of the celestial fox vision was indeed tricky, primarily because as a human, his bloodline inheritance was not pure and strong enough. Continuous stimulation and enhancement of the potential in his bloodline required strong spiritual power as support, and indeed, constant stimulation of the bloodline was necessary, as it had been proven last time. Without such intense stimulation, he might never have broken through to the fourth order in his lifetime. Tang San silently felt the changes in Dubai and Appo's bloodline power. He didn't end Appo's actively devour it but instead just observed the reaction of the celestial fox vision as its owner came under deathly threat. Right now, this understanding was even more important than simply devouring the bloodline energy. The celestial fox vision was different from other bloodline powers. In fact, Tang San and Appo's own advancement from the second to the third order was not due to devouring Dubai and Appo's bloodline energy, but rather because he had integrated the ability with his own discerning eye. This integration brought him a sort of enlightenment leading to advancement. Dubai and Appo's eyes gradually emitted white light, the soft white glow becoming more intense. Tang San, who was suppressing his life force with his power, clearly felt his blood circulation becoming sluggish. Even the operation of the mysterious heaven technique seemed to have unstable fluctuations. It was as if something terrible was about to happen to him. Tang San and Appo's eyes emitted a warm prickling sensation as his discerning eye of heaven spontaneously activated. To his surprise, he saw a white column of energy above Dubai and Appo's head about 3 feet high, swaying as if it might disperse at any moment. His spiritual power blossomed, and he also turned to look at his own body. There was a similar energy column above his head, only 2 feet high but much more solid than Dubai and Appo's. The two white energy columns collided, attracted, and repelled each other as if competing. Fate, this must be the collision of fates. Even when it came to those of great strength, fate often played a significant role. Those with good luck often reaped easy rewards in anything they did, cultivation included. At this moment, Dubai and Appo's aura, under the life-threatening pressure brought by Tang San, was struggling and erupting, attempting to change everything through the interference of luck. If not for Tang San and Appo's own celestial fox vision, he would have been greatly disturbed. And this was while Tang San was at the 6th order, while Dubai was only at the 4th. The fact that the 4th order could so intensely reject the power of the 6th order only served to illustrate the formidable power of the celestial fox vision. A faint smile appeared on Tang San and Appo's face as he improved his understanding regarding the functions of the celestial fox vision. It seemed that it cultivated the user and Appo's aura, constantly consolidating it to become stronger. Being around people with strong auras could invisibly enhance one and Appo's own, even drawing in and absorbing others and Appo's luck to bolster oneself. When actively used, it directly caused the user and Appo's aura to erupt, improving their luck. The side effect, in turn, was weakness on the mental level. When applied to others, it was akin to lending the user and Appo's aura to them, causing their luck to suddenly improve, leading to beneficial outcomes in the very short term. Like when they killed that winged tiger, Dubai and Appo's outburst had essentially lent them his luck. So this is how the celestial fox vision functions at the 4th order. With this thought, Tang San slowly relaxed his grip on Dubai and Appo's hands, stealthily absorbing some of his bloodline power. As he released his grip, Tang San mimicked the previous changes in Dubai and Appo's aura, allowing his pillar of aura to no longer suppress Dubai and Appo's but merge with it. The two pillars of aura intertwined, complementing each other, and rose upward. Once the two pillars of aura had risen, reaching 5 feet, Tang San instantly felt an overwhelming uplift in his mood, as if struck by a solid confidence that he would meet Mei Gongzi tomorrow. This feeling was mysterious yet profoundly real. End quote. Huff, huff, huff. End quote. Dubai gasped heavily, glaring at Tang San angrily. End quote. Are you trying to kill me? End quote. Having just said that, he suddenly paused. He looked at Tang San, blinked and said, end quote, Little Tang, why do I feel you and Appo's become more handsome? And I feel that what you just did, it worked for me. How and Appo's that possible? End quote. Tang San could feel the enhancement from merging their auras. Naturally, he knew what Dubai was talking about. Tang San said, end quote, This is the oppression I mentioned, a strong trigger for your celestial fox vision. This will activate the deepest power of your bloodline, enhancing the celestial fox vision. Now try retracting the power and see how it feels." End quote. Tang San quietly guided his pillar of luck back as he spoke. Dubai clearly couldn't and oppose. See this pillar of luck, possibly because he possessed the pure celestial fox transformation rather than the triple hybrid Tang San had, or maybe due to Tang San and Appo's more substantial spiritual power. Both of them experienced the effects of their celestial fox vision, yet their experiences were worlds apart. Tang San appeared spirited, clearly sensing that his celestial fox vision had advanced, drawing near the fourth order. Moreover, he had borrowed some of Dubai and Appo's luck. Indeed, his fortune tomorrow would probably not be bad. Dubai, however, felt waves of emptiness and cold loneliness, his weakness making him sway. He might have nearly fallen if Tang San had not supported him in time. And quote, right, this is the feeling. It and Appo's as if my celestial fox vision has been overused. This feeling is correct. Little Tang, you are truly amazing. Once I recover, perhaps my celestial fox vision might even improve. Even our teacher Kuden and Appo's think of this cultivation method, and you figured it out by yourself. I and Appo's am impressed. End quote. Tang San thought the teachers Kuden and Appo's think of it because nobody else has the celestial fox vision, so how could they know how it works? I and Appo's am taking each step as it comes. He eagerly wished for Dubai to improve quickly. Dubai and Appo's advancement meant he himself was not far from advancing. His cultivation was at the sixth order, so there was still plenty of room for improvement in his celestial fox vision. The celestial fox vision of the fourth order could already change a person and Appo's luck. What about the fifth order? The sixth order? And what happened when it reached the 12th order? Its power could potentially affect the fate of an entire clan, race, and eventually continent. The Celestial Fox Emperor was one of the top 3 formidable demon emperors, and it was clearly thanks to this. A faint smile appeared on Tang San and Appo's face. He escorted Dubai back to his room, advising him to meditate and cultivate, and then returned to his room. Such cultivation was beneficial for Dubai and equally so for Tang San. As they cultivated together, the synergy and improvement in their fortunes were far more significant than if either practiced alone. As long as Tang San kept his celestial fox vision slightly weaker than Dubai and Appo's he could seamlessly merge his ability with Dubai and Appo's It seemed that a new daily cultivation task was in order. If it worked with Dubai, it could also work with Guli. Compared to the celestial fox transformation, enhancing the chronocroc transformation was more manageable. It merely required absorbing the bloodline power from Guli. After breakfast, as the sky began to brighten, Tang San and Dubai stood together on a hillside outside the Redemption Society, gazing into the distant east, jointly cultivating their purple demon eyes. After a night in Appo's rest, Dubai mainly recovered his spirits. As the purple dawn approached, a purple hue appeared in his eyes, a sign that he had begun to grasp the basics of the purple demon eyes. Under the influence of his celestial fox vision, his cultivation of the purple demon eyes was far more efficient and faster than that of an ordinary person. They continued their cultivation until the sun rose. Dubai turned to Tang San and said, and quote, "It and Appo's different, I can feel it. My celestial fox vision seems to have improved a bit. It and Appo's not as significant as the last breakthrough, but it and Appo's progress. Before the breakthrough, when I cultivated the celestial fox transformation, it was always a gradual accumulation with slow improvement. I've never felt this way before. Little Tang, thank you." End quote. Tang San smiled slightly and quote, "I and Appo's am glad it and Appo's helpful. Keep practicing your purple demon eyes, they and Appo's your best tool. Now I and Appo's am off to work at Kali Academy." End quote. After bidding farewell to Dubai, Tang San descended the mountain. Having received his work permit the day before, he passed through the back gate and Appo's security check and re-entered Kali Academy. Perhaps due to the guidance of fortune from last night, he felt even the sunlight seemed much brighter today. End quote. Fortune, oh fortune, please be on my side. End quote. When he arrived at the small building, It seemed old Mao had just finished breakfast. Surprisingly, a hint of a smile appeared when he saw Tang San. End quote. Little Tang, you did well yesterday, keep up the good work. The Academy and Appos, Dean of Instruction sought me out last night to praise your cleaning. End quote. End quote. Thank you, old Mao. Thanks to your good teaching. End quote. Tang San replied humbly. Old Mao patted his shoulder. End quote. Excellence comes from every profession. Do well. End quote. What kind of excellence comes from sweeping floors? Tang San and Appos' mouth twitched slightly, but he made sure old Mao didn't, and Appos' see it and verbally agreed. Taking his things, he cleaned the main teaching building again, this time without old Mao accompanying him. Being praised first thing in the morning was a sign of good luck. Since he had thoroughly cleaned the day before, today and Appos' task was much more manageable. Tang San was supposed to work one day and rest the next, but as this was his trial week, he needed to come in every day. This was mainly to let old Mao assess his suitability for the job. If he passed smoothly, he could become a regular employee, working one day and resting the next 3 times a week. Meigongzi, Meigongzi, Meigongzi. As Tang San swept the floor, he silently prayed in his heart. However, even after a morning of sweeping, he still hadn't, and Appos' caught a glimpse of Meigongzi. Seems like my luck ISN and Appos' that great today. Oh well, it and Appos' not something I can force, Tang San thought helplessly. Luck aside, he found that cultivating within Kali Academy was indeed excellent. The spiritual energy here was the densest he had ever experienced. Even as he absorbed it at a low rate, while sweeping the yard, it had a tremendous nourishing effect on his body. His mysterious heaven technique was superbly compatible with the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, especially when it came to life energy. After a day and a half of merging with the plant life energy, the bloodline imprint on his green jade vine had become noticeably more active. The low-tier green jade vine even seemed to have a sense of eager anticipation. He returned to the small house at noon to eat and rest. While Tang San was meditating and resting, a somewhat urgent shout suddenly came from outside. End quote. Old Mao, old Mao. End quote. End quote. I and Appos' am coming. End quote. Old Mao, who was napping on the table, quickly got up. It seemed that he got a bit dizzy from rising too fast, as his body swayed a little. Hearing the shout, Tang San had already gotten up and quickly went to support him. Old Mao glanced at him, nodded, and left the small house. Outside the small house, a burly man was waiting anxiously. Seeing old Mao come out, he waved him over and said, end quote, hurry up, the dean is inspecting every part of the cultivation area today. Take your people and get the cleaning done immediately. You have just over an hour. Right now, immediately. End quote. End quote. Yes, yes, we and Appos' will go right away. Little Tang, grab your things, let and Appos' go. I and Appos' will gather the others immediately. End quote. It wasn't and Appos' just old Mao and Tang San in the small house. There were several small rooms, and each room housed 2 people, serving as a place to rest and store cleaning supplies. Old Mao assembled a dozen people, and immediately headed to the cultivation area behind the academy with various cleaning tools. Old Mao quickly delegated tasks, assigning cleaning duties to everyone else. End quote. Little Tang, since you and Appos' new to this place, follow me. Let and Appos' clean the demonic battle zone. End quote. Tang San had studied the internal map of Kali Academy. The demonic battle zone was where the academy and Appos' students practiced combat. It was large, covering 2 levels. Following old Mao, he quickly arrived at the place. The demonic battle zone was a ring-shaped building that extended both above and under the ground. Upon entering the demonic battle zone, Tang San immediately sensed a powerful energy array. Even the walls around him shimmered with faint energy fluctuations. This place, used for combat training of demon race students, obviously had to be well defended, or it would have been destroyed long ago. End quote. The demonic battle zone is large, but we come here to clean on the daily. The usual cleaning ISN and Appos' needed. We just need to focus on spots that might usually be overlooked, like the tops of door frames and corners of windows. You carry a bucket of water. I and Appos' LL lead you. We need to move quickly, time is of the essence. If we don and oppose, T clean properly we and oppose, L'll be in trouble. End quote. Old Mao spoke much faster than yesterday, clearly in a hurry. Tang San had no objections. He fetched a bucket of water and followed Old Mao. He cleaned wherever Old Mao instructed swiftly and thoroughly. Watching Tang San and Appo's adept movements, Old Mao breathed a sigh of relief. Seemed like they would finish in time. He grew increasingly pleased with the young boy. The latter was just a child, but he was clearly very responsible. The mayor and Appo's recommendation was indeed a good one. They first cleaned the circular corridor that ran all the way around this ring-shaped building. Behind the doors along the corridor was the actual demonic battle zone. As they cleaned, Old Mao explained the general layout of the area to Tang San. The upper level of the demonic battle zone was an open-air battlefield, an extensive arena covering 15,000 square meters, large enough to accommodate multiple combatants simultaneously. The lower level consisted of smaller individual areas, mainly for a few people and Appo's practical training and combat exercises. Each had its purpose. With Tang San and Appo's efficient cleaning, the outer circle of the area was already done in just over half an hour. The usual hygiene standards here seemed relatively high, so there weren't and Appo's too many neglected spots. End quote. Let and Appo's go inside. End quote. Old Mao led Tang San through a side door. There were no guards here. When the two pushed open the heavy door, they immediately felt the energy fluctuations inside. Two groups of students were engaged in combat. As Tang San stepped through the gate into the demonic battle zone, he realized his luck was finally shining upon him. Tang San almost immediately spotted Mei Gongzi among the two groups of people. Each group consisted of 7 members, but she appeared to be the only human. The others were all demons. Among Mei Gongzi and Appo's group, Tang San recognized 2 individuals, the little bear that had once threatened him, and the other his romantic rival the golden-haired young man. Seeing Mei Gongzi, Tang San found his gaze lingering on her. Today she was dressed in a form-fitting green outfit that, together with her hair tied into a ponytail, accentuated her slender figure. The 13-year-old girl had begun to develop, and it seemed that in no time she would become a great beauty. She stood at the end of the line, and her transformation was strange. Originally, Mei Gongzi had black hair, but now her long hair was a striking shade of blue and it fluttered with her movements. In her hand she held a thin sword adorned with feathers hanging from the pommel. Are those peacock feathers? Tang San gazed in surprise at the weapon in Mei Gongzi and Appo's hand, a flash of realization sparking in his mind. He almost instantly recalled Gulongjiang and Appo's story. In Kali City, the ruling power was a formidable race. This demon race had once been a powerful presence even in the ancestral court. However, their strength had waned due to the death of their emperor and the absence of a new sovereign. Even so, the current chieftain was still a demon king, the Peacock Demon King. From the transformation Mei Gongzi had undergone, it was evident that her demonic god transformation was the king of all birds, the peacock transformation. Her bloodline heritage belonged to the lineage of the ruler of Kali City. Now Tang San understood everything, why Mei Gongzi and Appo's mother could open a milk tea shop in the center of the city, why Mei Gongzi could study at Kali City and Appo's best academy, and why even the demons dared not harbor ill will toward her even though she was a human. It was all due to her bloodline. She inherited the bloodline of the Peacock clan, and it was clearly not just any ordinary peacock demon lineage. She had to be from the purest lineage of the Peacock Demon King, the only thing that could explain her eligibility to study at the Kali Academy. As Tang San rapidly processed these thoughts, he felt a sudden pain at the back of his head. A low growl from Old Mao followed in his ears and quote, "What are you looking at? Get back to work." End quote. End quote. "Ah yes." End quote. Tang San hastily replied and averted his gaze. Tang San had already noticed that Mei Gongzi was really going at it. Even though she was positioned at the rear, she was certainly not sitting there doing nothing. Each swing of her peacock plume sent numerous tiny feathers flying, attacking opponents from mid to long range, disrupting their movements and creating opportunities for her teammates. Whenever an opponent tried to approach her for a close-range attack, her teammates would defend with all their might, giving no chance to the adversary. She seemed to be the core of the team. As for her side, that young demon with golden hair had grown far more robust, yet still retained a humanoid form, and he looked more like a human vassal with the demonic god transformation activated than an actual demon. His long golden hair radiated a dazzling light, and his hands had grown enormous. Each strike of his palms posed a significant threat to the opponent. The Golden Lion Clan. This was the greatest bloodline among the Lion Demon clans. A golden bloodline. Indeed, nothing short of formidable. This young member of the Golden Lion Clan had at least an 8th order cultivation. Mei Gongzi in Tang San and Appo's perception was at the 7th order. What powerful bloodlines they both have. The combatants on both sides were around the 7th order in strength, with only the 2 leaders of each side being at the 8th order. Since Tang San only watched briefly, this was all he could observe. He couldn't and Appo's look any longer, as watching further would provoke old Mao and Appo's anger. However, having seen Mei Gongzi here today, Tang San was quite satisfied. What luck! The celestial fox vision is truly remarkable. Mei Gongzi naturally didn't and Appo's notice a lowly Tang San sweeping the floor as the battle between the 2 sides continued unabated. Tang San could only steal glances occasionally while sweeping, trying to remember the feeling of those fleeting moments. After observing a few times, he noticed that Mei Gongzi and Appo's demonic god transformation didn't and Appo's cause much change in her physique, except for her hair and eyes turning a beautiful peacock blue, which added a bit of heroism and glamour to her appearance. Apart from that, there were no other changes. This was the characteristic of a very high-level demonic god transformation. This made sense if she had inherited the bloodline of the Peacock Demon King. In that case, her peacock transformation was likely a first-tier demonic god transformation, on the same level as the celestial fox transformation. No wonder she holds such a status even among the demons. It could be said that Mei Gongzi is the first human Tang San has seen who held a truly high position among the demon clans. The battle was intense, and Tang San could only observe occasionally, catching glimpses of the combat. Mei Gongzi and Appo's team had the upper hand. Her peacock feathers seemed to exist between reality and void, possessing great power and always appearing at critical moments. The young man from the Golden Lion clan on her side was also powerful, his 8th order strength allowing him to bear the brunt of the enemy team and Appo's attacks and create more opportunities for victory. The disparity in strength between the 2 sides was apparent, so the spar did not last long and ended with Mei Gongzi and Appo's team emerging victorious. After the battle, both sides stood together, seemingly discussing something. While quickly cleaning, Tang San occasionally glanced over, his attention entirely on Mei Gongzi and that guy from the Golden Lion clan. He wasn't and Appo's worried about them having something between them. After all, Mei Gongzi was still too young. But he still didn't like seeing her getting too close to other men, especially when the other party looked so outstanding. The young man from the Golden Lion clan looked to be about the same age as Wu Bingji, yet he already had 8th order strength. Moreover, being from a golden bloodline, his talent and potential were unquestionable. Fortunately, Mei Gongzi appeared indifferent to everyone, clearly keeping her distance. Her teammates also showed great respect for her, and the young man from the Golden Lion clan did not deliberately approach Mei Gongzi at this time, which somewhat relieved Tang San. Become stronger. I need to become stronger faster. Jealousy indeed is a cardinal sin. Seeing them together as a team, Tang San admitted he was jealous. This jealousy made him want to become stronger faster and strive with all his vigor. Otherwise, if that guy actually turned out to be a love rival, how could Tang San stand a chance against him in this world where strength reigns supreme? After Mei Gongzi and her group finished their discussion, they left, and the demon battle area turned quiet. Tang San efficiently completed his cleaning within the allotted time. After finishing, he followed Old Mao quietly and returned to the small house. His afternoon cleaning tasks were not cancelled due to the additional task. He continued cleaning the plaza in front of the main academic building in the afternoon. While cleaning, his mind was filled with the image of Mei Gongzi in her peacock transformation state. That shade of peacock blue was indeed breathtakingly beautiful. And she was only in her early teens. Who knew how much more attractive she would be as a fully grown woman? It was good to see her. The celestial fox vision had indeed brought him good luck. When he went back, Tang San had every intention to continue cultivating with Dubai, striving to reach the fourth order sooner and cast more luck on himself. Even though this manner of cultivation would exhaust him, what was a little weakness to Tang San? Moreover, with his strong liquid spiritual power, the degree to which he was weakened would surely not be as great as in the case of Dubai. The afternoon cleaning duties were relatively easy. Just as Tang San was about to finish, he suddenly felt a tremor in his heart and instinctively looked up. Mei Gongzi, who now had her usual black hair, quickly walked toward the school and Appo's main gate. At this moment, she was alone, clad in the uniform of Kali Academy, her long black hair cascading down her back. She radiated an unusual brilliance, at least in the eyes of Tang San. Subconsciously, he stopped sweeping, staring intently at her, his heart a whirlwind of emotions. How he longed to rush over and embrace her. His lips tightened unconsciously, and his eyes began to moisten slightly. This was the first time he had seen her alone, with no one else around. It seemed as if the entire Kali Academy had become the backdrop for their encounter. Holding the broom in his hands, Tang San gazed at the love of his past life, and the new affection in his current life. His hands Kuden and Appo's helped but tremble slightly. The fortune of the celestial fox vision indeed does not deceive me. Mei Gongzi, who was walking away, paused in her steps. It seemed she felt something and turned her head unconsciously toward Tang San. Their eyes met and Mei Gongzi appeared slightly startled, a hint of bewilderment flashing in her eyes. The next moment, she turned around and walked toward Tang San. Amid his emotional turmoil, Tang San saw her walking toward him. He, who had lived 3 lifetimes, felt almost breathless. His heartbeat accelerated suddenly, the intense beating so strong it seemed unbelievable even to himself. What and Appo's happening? What and Appo's happening to me? She and Appo's coming, what should I do? He wanted to lower his head, as would be fitting for sweeper Tang San at such a time, but he was utterly unable to shift his gaze away from her. Mei Gongzi kept approaching until she stopped just 2 meters away from him. As she looked at him, her eyes were bright and she had a gentle smile. Then her melodious voice rang out. And quote, "Have I met you before?" And quote. Tang San was momentarily stunned. His mouth opened, but nothing came out of it but an inarticulate sound. And quote, "I and Appo's am asking you something," and quote, Mei Gongzi said. She frowned slightly, and her tone turned noticeably more assertive. And quote, "I and Appo's bought milk tea before," and quote. Tang San finally managed to say, catching his breath. And quote, "Oh?" And quote, Mei Gongzi and Appo's eyes lit up with recognition. And quote, "Oh, you did. I remember you now. You seem to have changed a bit." And quote. Since their last meeting, Tang San had naturally undergone some changes. He had grown taller, gained weight, no longer looked as thin, and appeared much healthier. And quote, "I and Appo's been eating more lately," and quote. Tang San said, almost as if possessed. Mei Gongzi nodded. And quote, "Remember Don and Appo's stare at the students here. If you run into someone with a bad temper, it could cause trouble, understand?" And quote. And quote. I understand, thank you," and quote. Tang San responded. Mei Gongzi murmured, and quote, "So you work here? All right, I see." And quote. With these words she turned and walked away. Tang San almost subconsciously blurted out, and quote, "Mei Gongzi," and quote. Immediately after, he regretted it. He honestly didn't and Appo's want her to think he was some kind of weirdo. But to his surprise, Mei Gongzi continued to walk away quickly, disappearing down the road as if she hadn't and Appo's heard him. Did she not hear me, or did she choose to ignore me? Tang San and Appo's heart instantly became entangled in confusion. No matter what significant events he encountered, he usually maintained his composure and wisdom. But when it came to her, this wisdom wholly shattered. Mei Gongzi walked out of Kali Academy, and just as she stepped out of the main gate, she suddenly stopped, unconsciously turning around to look back at the academy. Her brows furrowed slightly, a hint of confusion in her heart. That person just now. She had seen many human vassals, and this boy was most definitely not the only one to have bought milk tea from her. So why could she clearly remember having met him twice before, especially when his physique and appearance had obviously changed. She felt a mysterious closeness to that slightly younger, somewhat frail-looking boy. She knew her character well. Apart from her mother, she maintained her distance and a distinctly cold demeanor toward almost everyone. Her initiative to approach him and ask him something was quite out of character, especially since he was a complete stranger. Wait, hold on. It wasn't Appos. The third time she had seen him, but the fourth. She recalled seeing him sweeping in the demon combat zone that afternoon. After a moment of thought, she gently shook her head and headed down the mountain. When Tang San returned to the Redemption Academy, it was not yet time for dinner, so he went straight to look for Dubai. End quote. Brother Dubai, how are you feeling today? End quote. Dubai replied, end quote, I really pushed myself yesterday and I and Appos am feeling kind of weak today, but as you said, my spiritual power is growing faster. I felt something for sure this morning, and now it and Appos is even clearer. End quote. Tang San said, end quote, so are we good to keep going tonight? I'll keep helping you with your cultivation. Your celestial fox vision probably needs some extra help to get stronger. End quote. Looking gratefully at Tang San, Dubai said, end quote, Little Tang, I'm really starting to believe in luck these days. Ever since I met you, good things just keep happening, not to mention the cash rolling in. Most importantly, my celestial fox transformation that an Appos has been stuck forever is finally moving forward. Thanks a ton. If you ever need anything, just give me a shout. End quote. Tang San smiled and said, end quote, helping you is helping myself. If your celestial fox transformation improves, won't it bring good luck to everyone around you? End quote. Today and Appos' encounter made him see the celestial fox vision in a completely new light. He had met Mei Gongzi twice in the vast Kali Academy, which was incredible. It was undoubtedly the beneficial effect of the celestial fox vision, particularly considering that she had spoken to him in the afternoon of her own initiative. Even on his way back, Tang San could barely contain his excitement. Setting everything else aside, if he could coincidentally see her every day or so, getting familiar with her would be a good start. End quote. You're right. Alright, after dinner tonight I and Appos I'll come find you, end quote, Dubai said with a chuckle. Who doesn't in Appos want to be useful? Dubai felt that after his breakthrough to the Fourth Order, the Academy started to pay attention to him again. In their last operation with their temporary 5-person team, everyone said that luck played a significant role. Otherwise, Tang San Kuden and Appos have exploded with power at just the right moment, in the jaws of the winged tiger, turning defeat into victory. Furthermore, his perspective on his cultivation had changed considerably thanks to the method of cultivating spiritual power through the purple demon eyes. This feeling was quite satisfying. Tang San genuinely wanted to help Dubai enhance his celestial fox vision. This ability, with its attribute of luck, was so unique that Tang San would have wanted to study it thoroughly even if it had no discernible practical use, not to even mention that it had one and this practical use benefited him directly. End quote. I and Appos I'll come to you, end quote, Tang San suggested. End quote. That way after the training you can meditate directly in your room and then I and Appos I'll head back to mine. End quote. End quote. That works, end quote, agreed Dubai. After dinner, Tang San and Dubai practiced the celestial fox transformation together. The method was similar to the previous day, with Tang San applying intense pressure. Although Dubai was mentally prepared, Tang San had a very good grasp on how to reproduce the near-death sensation, making the practice quite effective. After Dubai rested in his weakened state, Tang San returned to his room to continue his cultivation. His discerning eye of heaven remained at the peak of the Third Order without advancing. It wasn't Appos a time to worry. As long as he continued practicing with Dubai, breaking through was just a matter of time. After returning to his room, Tang San didn't and Appos rush into cultivation. Today and Appos' encounter had made him reconsider his initial plan to accumulate experience over time. Getting stronger quickly was imperative. Otherwise, how could he protect Mei Gongzi? And how could he deal with a love rival? If he considered the Golden Lion a love rival, the harsh truth was that Tang San was no match for him now. Indeed, the reality of having a love rival hits hard. I must find a way to become much stronger. To further improve his mysterious heaven technique, he had to enhance his physical strength. It was the only way his body could support its continuous advancement. Next was to strengthen the levels of his bloodline imprint. He would gradually improve his celestial fox, chronocroc, and golden rock transformations. Unfortunately, Dubai Guli and Cheng Zicheng's own cultivations imposed limitations on his speed. The fifth order was the highest tier he could achieve now, and that process could not be rushed. His wind tiger transformation had reached the sixth order, and he was definitely unable to advance further as long as his mysterious heaven technique was only at that order as well. Thus, all he could enhance was the leopard flash and his newly integrated green jade vine. The green jade vine held special significance for Tang San, as it was both a memento of his past life and the foundation of some of his past life abilities. He didn't know if he could get it to where he wanted it, but he had to try. He was forced to consider a more comprehensive and somewhat aggressive cultivation method to keep up. Forget the golden lion for now. Even Mei Gongzi, with her peacock transformation, was likely at the seventh order. Did she need his protection? It was more like she would be protecting him. In Today in Appo's battle, she hadn't used her full strength. Her true power was evident from the respect she commanded among her team members, who were undeniably strong. Alright, it's time to make a plan. For the next few days, Tang San worked at Kali Academy. Blessed with the good fortune from Celestial Fox Vision, he encountered Mei Gongzi 3 times, twice in the plaza in front of the main teaching building, and once while he was assigned to clean another area. Mei Gongzi didn't in Appo's initiate conversation with him, but Tang San felt her gaze on him. In other words, she had noticed him. Does she care about me? Probably not. Tang San had the self-awareness to realize that as a mere janitor, there was no way she would give him special attention. During these days, Tang San was devising a plan. Not just a somewhat aggressive plan to enhance his cultivation, but also a strategy to pursue Mei Gongzi. With his current status, it was obviously impossible to pursue Mei Gongzi, and of course his age was also a factor. However, he needed to find a way to get close to her, to make her have a favorable impression of him, laying the groundwork for the future and getting to know her better. After several days of deep contemplation, a complete plan gradually shaped Tang San and Appo's mind. What sweeper Tang San couldn't and Appo's accomplish, perhaps another Tang San can. As night fell, the teachers and students of the Redemption Academy were either asleep or meditating. The entire academy was peaceful under the night sky. Silently, Tang San opened his room door. Clad in black nightwear, he slipped out through the door gap. His spiritual power enveloped him, concealing him perfectly. To hide himself, he even merged a trace of divine consciousness into his spiritual power for camouflage. This was a necessary precaution, as Siru was a god-level powerhouse with exceedingly strong perception. One slip-up in his divine consciousness could detect Tang San instantly. Carefully leaving the Redemption Academy, Tang San then sped up slightly. He quickly left the small town surrounding the academy, heading straight for Kali Academy. The distance between the two places was short, and soon Tang San was already nearing Kali Academy. He didn't and Appo's rush into action but stopped first, quietly sensing the changes around him, as a faint white halo lit up in his eyes. Discerning eye of heaven. He primarily utilized the predictive ability of the Celestial Fox Vision. Though at the peak of the third tier he couldn't and Appo's directly change his fate, determining auspicious or ominous outcomes was no issue. The most miraculous aspect of the Celestial Fox Vision lay in its control over fate. Cultivated to a level above God King, one could even become a part of fate itself. Even if the wielder of the Celestial Fox Vision had no combat ability, they couldn't and Appo's be harmed as luck wouldn't and Appo's permit it. After a moment of silent sensing, the peak third-tier Celestial Fox Vision didn't and Appo's predict any danger for Tang San. After this test, he knew it was safe to proceed. Silently leaping up, he quickly approached Kali Academy. From nearly a week of observation, he had already made many deductions about this place. Within the entire Kali city, there were immensely powerful defensive arrays. Tang San didn't and Appo's know how these arrays were created, but that didn't and Appo's prevent him from discerning their characteristics. Kali Academy had an overarching defensive or rather early warning array. After all, covering such a vast area with complete defense would require an immense amount of energy. However, an alert system posed no issue. As soon as an outsider scaled the wall or something like that, the array and Oppo's alarm would be instantly triggered, calling forth the strong entities in the academy. The array covered everything without any blind spots, a fact Tang San knew without even thinking about it. Hence, there was never any special defense inside Kali Academy. That one layer was more than enough. Tang San wasn't in Oppo's in a rush. He found a corner near the back gate of the academy, where he entered every day, and concealed himself. He simply held his breath and waited quietly. The wait wasn't in Oppo's long. About 15 minutes later his target arrived. It was inevitable since tonight, like other nights, he had cultivated with Dubai, and having Dubai enhance his luck using the celestial fox vision and Oppo's power was quite beneficial for Dubai and Oppo's stimulation of his bloodline. With fortune on his side, it would have been weird not to encounter what he was waiting for. Two figures sneakily approached the back gate of Kali Academy and began undressing. Yes, undressing. They removed their splendid clothes and changed into the uniforms of Kali Academy students. These two demons appeared to be around 20 years old. Once they donned the school uniforms, they looked exactly like all the other students. Even though he was more than 10 meters away, Tang San could faintly smell the alcohol on them. They must have drunk quite a bit. End quote. Meow meow, end quote. One of the demons let out a soft cat-like meow. It didn't end Oppo's take long before the small back door of Kali Academy silently opened, and the two demons quickly entered. Tang San moved almost instantaneously, crouching and taking advantage of the night and Oppo's cover. He darted out from his shadowy corner, and just as he was about to reach the door, his figure flashed and vanished without a sound. End quote. End quote. The guard who opened the door frowned, sensing something, but when he looked around he found nothing. End quote. Thanks, brother, end quote, said one of the demon students who had just entered, pulling out a bottle of liquor from his pocket and handing it to the guard. End quote. Come back earlier next time, you two. Otherwise I have to wait for you, and it and Oppo's tiring, end quote, the guard said as he pocketed the liquor and turned back to the rear door of the security room. The two demon students also left quickly, disappearing in the blink of an eye. They didn't end Oppo's know that Tang San, using the near-instantaneous speed of leopard flash, had already moved from the shadows outside the door to the shadows inside. Having successfully infiltrated the academy for a few days now, Tang San had calculated this position early on. With the cover of shadows and his nocturnal attire, it was exceedingly difficult for anyone to discover him. The reason for this plan was related to his experiences over the past few days. He entered and exited through the back door every day. While Kali Academy had a defensive alarm array, regular entry and exit wouldn't trigger it naturally. At one point, when he left through the back door, he encountered some demon students and overheard their conversations. One demon student said, end quote, let's sneak out for a drink tonight. I and Oppo's, we already arranged it with the gatekeeper. End quote. This caught Tang San and Oppo's attention, and he came out to observe at night. Indeed, several groups of students would sneak in late through the back door every night. Kali Academy was a boarding school of sorts. Students were not allowed to leave on regular days unless they had leave. However, where there were rules, there were people who broke them. Being young and restless, these demon students naturally found it hard to endure loneliness. Sneaking out to have fun only made sense. The guards turned a blind eye. They were benefiting from the situation, so why not? Thus, Tang San took advantage of this opportunity to infiltrate back into Kali Academy. He removed a black metal mask from his storage bag and put it on his face, covering the upper half. Forged from black gold, it concealed his identity and offered some protection. After the two demon students and the guard had left, Tang San acted again, quickly moving deeper into Kali Academy. His recent weekend Oppo's work as a cleaner wasn't Oppo's for nothing. He was already quite familiar with the layout here. He headed straight for the cultivation area. This time, his midnight infiltration wasn't Oppo's to rendezvous with Mei Gongzi, but for another purpose. About 5 minutes later, Tang San cautiously approached a building. This building had a pointed roof and wasn't Oppo's Very large in terms of floor space. Not far from here was the demon battle zone, and in front of this building there were 2 demon guards. Both demon guards were of robust stature, over 3 meters tall, with broad shoulders and bear-like waists. Their extraordinarily long arms each held a metal staff, about 5 meters long and as thick as an adult in Apo's arm, obviously very heavy. These were mighty ape demons. Ape demons held a fairly high position among the demon races. In fact, they were one of the top 10 races. Although mighty ape demons Waren and Apo's the elite among their kind, they were a significant combat force of the ape demons. To Tang San and Apo's perception, these mighty ape demons were at least of the 8th order in cultivation. This was the only place guarded in the entire Kali Academy, because this was Kali Academy and Apo's convenience store, end quote. Of course it wasn't an Apo's called a convenience store here, but the Academy store. Tang San had heard from Zhang Haoshuan about the Academy store of Kali Academy. The items sold here were exclusively for Kali Academy students. They were cheaper than outside, and the quality and variety far surpassed that of the store at the Redemption Society. The Academy store sold items and also purchased items, including demon beast corpses and rare plants, as exclusive student benefits. Tang San and Apo's target today was precisely this place. The presence of 2 8th order guards underscored the importance of this location. Moreover, the store had its own separate alarm array. If someone sneaked in, the alarm would go off immediately. The guards and the alarm were not actually against outsiders but to prevent students from committing theft. Such incidents had happened before in Kali Academy. Tang San chose this target not because he was confident in taking down 2 8th order guards and avoiding the alarm. Kali Academy had god-level powerhouses and not just one. Once he was discovered, escaping would be more challenging than reaching the heavens. Therefore he had to rely on wit, not brute force, to achieve his goal. Tang San watched the 2 8th order mighty ape demons patrolling the door from a distance. He was not in a hurry, so he quietly waited. It was still the first half of the night, and their vigilance was still high, not the best time for action. He was patient, sitting in a dark corner, resting while quietly waiting for the opportunity. Time passed by the minute. About 2 hours later, the 2 mighty ape demons came together. One mighty ape demon looked at the sky. End quote, "Is it about time?" End quote. The other nodded, saying, end quote, "About time. Let and Apo's go in and check around. In another hour or so, it should be dawn." End quote. End quote. Let and Apo's go. End quote. The 2 8th order demons walked together to the front door of the store. As they approached the door, a faint yellow halo emanated from them, and a similar halo radiated from the store's door. When the 2 halos touched, the alarm array did not sound. A mighty ape demon opened the door and walked inside, while another turned around to face outward, guarding the entrance. Tang San and Apo's action was timed perfectly at the moment one ape demon turned around and the other entered. What he had been waiting for was this brief opportunity. He approached from the side. Just before moving, he transformed his arms into 2 wings of light, flapping them in the dark corner to propel his body. He flickered through the blind spot of the ape demon guarding the door. At the same time, he activated Chronocroc transformation, causing a momentary delay in the demon and Apo's movements. Seizing this fleeting moment, he penetrated the barrier of the yellow halo and slipped inside. The defense of the surveillance array was only at the entrance, and the ape demon guarding the door happened to overlap with its own token. Taking advantage of this, Tang San used leopard flash to pass through as he approached. The wings of the golden rock increased his speed, and he used leopard flash again. He exerted his whole strength and monitored his surroundings for any changes with the discerning eye. The moment he entered the store, Tang San used leopard flash for the second time. With the powerful observation of the discerning eye, he immediately found a dark corner to hide in. He hid in the shadows, his presence wholly concealed, motionless in his hiding spot. No alarm sounded. The 8th order ape demon outside did not notice, and the one inside had already started its patrol. The Academy and Apo's store had a rule. A guard would patrol inside every 4 hours, whether it was day or night. Tang San had been waiting for just such an opportunity. Unless they had a bloodline specialized in spiritual power, most demons didn't, and Appos excel in that area. Their strength lay in their physique more than anything else. The loophole Tang San exploited could hardly be called a loophole, but with his boldness, meticulousness, and careful preparation, he successfully infiltrated his intended destination. Who else could simultaneously possess abilities like Chrono Croc Transformation, Golden Rock Transformation, and Leopard Flash? No race in this world could become invisible. Tang San perfectly utilized these 3 demonic god transformations in a short time, successfully infiltrating and smoothly reaching his destination. Now that he was inside, he was in no hurry. He scanned the Academy store, which had a massive 30-meter-long counter. Various sections of the counter were labeled with categories such as weapons, medicines, supplements, plants, and daily necessities. Behind the counter were large cabinets stocked with items. Tang San understood that the most precious items would not be displayed in these cabinets, and even if there were some, they would be protected with separate measures. Obviously, he ran the risk of triggering an alarm if he tampered with them. Tang San and Appos' visit this time was not necessarily to gain something specific. His primary goal was understanding the situation inside the Academy and Appos' store, with reconnaissance being the top priority. He would not rashly cause a disturbance. If he was to risk being discovered, he had to grab something that was valuable enough to make it worth it, so for now he had to find out what was available. After observing for a moment, Tang San used Leopard Flash twice in succession to hide in a darker corner further inside. He curled up into a ball and concentrated on concealing his own aura. When he utilized the discerning eye of heaven and his mighty spiritual power, even the patrolling demon with 8th order cultivation could not possibly detect him. After the demon finished its patrol and left the store, locking the door behind it, Tang San was the only one left inside. Relieved, Tang San stretched his body. With a flicker of white light in his eyes, his discerning eye of heaven surveyed the inside of the store. Under the gaze of the discerning eye of heaven, the cabinets behind the counter immediately appeared in various colors. Each color represented a different attribute, with the more vibrant colors indicating greater elemental energy and therefore greater value. Tang San quietly approached the counter and scanned the display cases behind it. As he had surmised, nearly all the cases with truly intense light had an extra layer of protection. The protection seemed to be just the cabinet doors, but they were connected to an alarm system, a fact he could see through his discerning eye of heaven. With his cultivation level, he could not simply bypass such an alarm array, at least not without making any noise. However, his purpose this time was simply to observe the alarm system from up close. Given his experience, it was not impossible for him to crack the array, given enough time and observation. The level of defense seemed to vary in different areas. The sections containing weapons, supplements, and medicines had metal cabinets, each equipped with heavy doors. Areas with living supplies and plants were open style. Naturally, the plants were not extremely precious treasures but daily necessities, including some directly consumable fruits and vegetables. After inspecting the outer counters, Tang San moved around to the back. The back of the store had the largest area behind the counter, and instead of cabinets, there were a number of vaults made of thick metal. Tang San could feel through touch and by observing with the discerning eye that there was a more intricate alarm system behind them, and the metal they were made of was at least a foot thick. Even for a god-level expert, silently breaching these defenses and removing the contents was nearly impossible. The store and Appos' internal and external defenses were undoubtedly stringent. There were 6 vaults here, and who knew what rare items they contained? Even the students of Kali Academy probably rarely saw them directly, and they had some kind of catalog when they wanted to browse the items. Without a doubt, the contents of these vaults were the real treasures in Tang San and Appos' ultimate target. To open the vaults, it was crucial to understand their defensive arrays, especially the alarm systems. As long as the alarms Waren and Appos' triggered, there was a chance. Tang San began with the external alarm system. His first task was to locate the central hub of the store's alarm array system. From his week of observations at Kali Academy, Tang San noted that the demon race and Appos' proficiency in constructing arrays was still at a very basic level. They lacked the capability to create particularly complex arrays. This starkly contrasted with the terrifying physical talents of the demon race, and was a key reason Tang San was confident of success. To put it simply, even the massive defensive system of Kali Academy was essentially a single large array. It consumed a lot of energy, but it was not intricate. It didn't oppose to even have a nested array, which was an essential component of true defense systems. As a former God King, Tang San used to study energy transformations in the divine realm during his free time, exploring how different energies could be combined to create greater effects, often through the use of arrays. The Douluo planet, where he had previously resided in, had extensively researched arrays, eventually advancing into a high-tech era. The progression from cold weapons to firearms was a breakthrough in energy arrays, and moving on from the era of basic firearms to the high-tech era required even more complex arrays. The divine realm had lost the ability to monitor the Douluo planet for a long time. When he returned, the continent had undergone massive changes. At that time, to sustain his wife and Appo's life and give her hope of returning, he did not fully return for a while but instead simply observed the changes on the Douluo planet. He gained substantial knowledge about the advancements in energy arrays, and with his powerful divine consciousness, learning such knowledge was more effortless than ever. Compared to the plane of the Douluo continent, the Phelan planet was far superior in terms of energy, resources, and life level. In fact, the intensity of its energy matched even the divine realm and Appo's. However, in terms of technology, it was far behind. The difference was quite substantial. Therefore, after carefully analyzing the protective array of Kali Academy, Tang San knew that as long as he had enough time and could find the core of the array, even the entire academy and Appo's alarm array would be virtually ineffective against him. This required time and the ability to reach the core. The alarm array of Kali Academy was undoubtedly the most essential part of the academy, guarded by powerful beings. It was obviously not difficult for him to locate, but to enter and observe closely was a whole different matter. He had to wait until his discerning eye of heaven advanced further, allowing him to observe energy changes more minutely and judge the array from a distance. However, the store was different. The defense array inside the academy store was entirely independent. As long as he was inside, finding the core of the array was not difficult. Under the gaze of the discerning eye of heaven, the energy fluctuations within the 6 vaults were clearly visible to Tang San. To his amusement, he found that the defensive alarm arrays of the 6 vaults were all the exact same, and even more bizarrely, none of them combined physical and array elements into the logically effective dual setup. They were all solely based on arrays. That is to say, even the locks were part of the array, not physical locks. This showed that the demon race placed great importance on their arrays, confident that no one could break through. It indicated the lack of research into arrays and other forms of using the natural energy of the plane. That makes things much simpler. Once the core array is broken, everything here will be up for grabs. Tang San took out paper and pen from his storage bag and silently observed the energy fluctuations in the vault. He started deducing the location of the core array by calculating the pattern of these energy changes. After about an hour, he found it. Kali Academy was quite clever in this aspect. The core array was inside one of the 6 vaults, meaning that one had to first enter the vault in order to break the core array. The opening of the vault, it seemed, required something like an energy key drawn in an array, something Tang San couldn't possibly deduce by himself. This posed a challenge for him, but he did not become impatient and instead started again from the display cabinets behind the counters outside. The places in the display cabinets where more valuable items were stored also had alarm arrays, different from those in the vaults. Each cabinet had an individual alarm, but they were all very similar in type. This was probably to save costs, or perhaps they were simply unable to create interconnected or nested arrays. Deducing the alarm formations of these outer cabinets was much easier. In a little over an hour, Tang San was confident he could open the doors of these display cabinets without making a sound. After completing this, a smile gradually appeared on Tang San and Appo's face. He had a plan. As dawn broke at the entrance of Kali Academy and Appo's store, a mighty ape demon stretched its body, unable to resist yawning. The other mighty ape demon nearby yawned along with it, grumbling and quote, "Why Haven and Appo's? They arrived yet? These lazy bones are killing me with sleepiness." End quote. End quote. They and Apo's, re-here. End quote, said the yawning ape demon in front. A small stature fox demon was approaching quickly. It had long, shiny brown-yellow hair, a sharp, pointed mouth and a slender build. Its eyes were huge, and it was easy to see where the demon's gaze shifted to as they darted around. End quote. You and Apo's, a bit late today, manager who? End quote, chuckled one of the ape demons. The fox demon manager who replied irritably, end quote, I and Apo's, am not late, you and Apo's, just getting lazy. Come inside for the handover, then you can go to sleep. End quote. The two apes followed manager who as he opened the door and entered the academy store. Just as they entered, manager who suddenly stopped, and his already large eyes widened even further. He darted forward like lightning the next instant, rushing straight to the counter. The mighty ape demon guards were startled and quickly followed, with one shouting, end quote, manager who, what and Apo's, wrong. End quote. With an angry and sharp voice, manager who exclaimed, end quote, what and Apo's going on? How do you guys do your job? Why is a cabinet door open? End quote. The two mighty ape demons hurried forward to check, and indeed, a cabinet door in the medicine area was open. The medicine counter facing the main entrance was very conspicuous, which was why manager who had noticed it immediately. End quote. It and Apo's impossible. Everything was fine when we were patrolling, end quote. The mighty ape demons quickly defended. However, manager who remained silent, visibly angry. He swiftly took out a ledger from the counter and started comparing it with the contents of the opened cabinet. His grim and angry expression gradually eased as he murmured, end quote, nothing and Apo's, missing, nothing at all. That and Apo's, good, that and Apo's, good. End quote. The two mighty ape demons looked confused. End quote. Manager who, what in Apo's going on? This cabinet. End quote. Manager who glanced back at them and said, end quote, strange, I don't and Apo's, know why the cabinet door was open but nothing inside is missing. End quote. Since nothing was missing, it ruled out the possibility of the mighty ape demons stealing. Moreover, they were only responsible for patrolling and didn't and Apo's know how to open the cabinets in the first place. Forcing them open would have immediately triggered an alarm. End quote. Good that nothing and Apo's missing. End quote. The mighty ape demon sighed in relief. But manager who did not dare to relax. He immediately walked out from behind the counter towards the back vaults and found that the vault doors were all properly closed. He quickly opened one and went inside to inspect the vault and Apo's contents. None of them noticed that when manager who opened the first vault door, a shadow flashed out, silently exiting the academy store. At the janitor's house. End quote. I and Apo's, am sorry old Mao, I and Apo's am late today. I woke up a bit late this morning, end quote. Tang San said apologetically. End quote. It and Apo's. Alright, you and Apo's, only a few minutes late. Just be careful next time. Go to work, end quote. Old Mao said with a smile. End quote. Yes, I and Apo's, I'll go right away. End quote. Watching Tang San pick up the cleaning supplies and head out to work, old Mao and Apo's gaze became even softer. The boy had been there for a week and he was performing almost flawlessly. He was dexterous, not talkative, did well whatever he was instructed to do, and was very thorough in cleaning. This week, the person in charge of general academic affairs had praised him twice for areas cleaned by Tang San. Thus, Tang San was undoubtedly confirmed for the job. Starting this week, he would come 3 days a week for cleaning, with possible additional calls in exceptional cases. The salary was settled weekly at 20 demons hard coins. For a human vassal, this was a reasonably good income. 20 demons hard coins were enough for a human vassal to live comfortably in Kali City. With some frugality, there could even be savings. Moreover, Tang San was still only a 10-year-old child. After a day in Apo's work, Tang San returned to the Redemption Society, had dinner, and spent time cultivating with Dubai. Dubai and Apo's spiritual power had been improving fast this past week, showing that Tang San and Apo's cultivation method, some people would call it psychological torture, but those people were not there to see it, was quite effective. It significantly stimulated the growth of his spiritual power. The celestial fox bloodline itself also significantly accelerated the growth of Dubai and Appo's spiritual power. Tomorrow, Tang San could cultivate at the academy again without going to Kali Academy. After finishing cultivation with Dubai, Tang San returned to his room and began writing and drawing on paper, preparing for his next steps based on his memories. Tang San was cautious. In the following week, he did not attempt to infiltrate Kali Academy and Appo's store again, and he just stuck to his routine of work and cultivation. During this week, luck allowed him to see Mei Gongzi twice. Tang San felt his mood brighten like sunshine each time he saw her. The only thing that made Tang San impatient was that, during his time at Kali Academy, he saw the young man from the Golden Lion clan with Mei Gongzi 1/3 of the time. Although he saw no close interactions between Mei Gongzi and the young man, it worsened Tang San and Appo's mood. Being younger was an issue, but it was also undeniable that the Golden Lion dog had excellent qualities in many aspects. What if, yes, dog was the nickname Tang San had given him. Tang San felt helpless about this. His plan needed more time. With his current strength, he was still lacking. He had to hasten the execution of his plan. Night fell. The night always carried a sense of mystery, even in the dark stillness. Some remained active. Tang San quietly left the small academy town and once again arrived at the back door of Kali Academy under the cover of night. With a flickering white light in his eyes, the discerning eye of heaven activated. Tang San silently sensed his luck. Dubai had already blessed him in the evening, so Tang San and Appo's luck was bound to be good. Still, he decided to observe cautiously for safety. He waited at the back door. It seemed that fortune still favored him, as two drunkards arrived together, quietly knocking on the door. The door opened, and the guard quietly pulled it open, letting them in. Seizing this opportunity, Tang San darted out from the shadows with a leopard flash, preparing to enter as he had before. However, as he leaped out, a sudden inexplicable sense of alarm surged in his heart. He immediately aborted his leopard flash, tapped the ground with his right foot, flipped backward, and darted toward the distance. At the same time, a large hand grabbed at the air, precisely where he would have been had he continued with his leopard flash. Immediately following was a loud shout. Who dares to trespass? A powerful aura erupted, and a figure wrapped in blue-purple light charged out, moving directly toward Tang San. 8th Order. At least 8th Order. In the instant of the opponent and Appo's eruption, Tang San immediately understood what he was facing. A strong sense of danger struck again, and Tang San swiftly dodged, using Ghost Shadow perplexing track and narrowly avoiding the strike of 2 bolts of lightning. He activated Leopard Flash again. Although his Flash Leopard bloodline imprint was only at the 4th Order, his cultivation was at the 6th, which gave him more than enough energy. Thus, he blinked continuously from place to place, using the trees around to conceal himself.